So, as we had left off last week, you know, for once, this is kind of a rarity among the party. We left off in a pretty positive situation. There are a lot of your investigations throughout the...
I was embarrassed horribly. That was not positive for me.
Hey, it's your fault. You took the glove.
He's got a point.
Oh.
I got what I wanted. I'm pretty happy.
It's only by a technicality of your elven blood that you're even allowed in that section. So, last week, we really had a good culmination of the amount of progress we've made since we arrived in the dwarven city of Kovlar. We have helped out the local Council of Regents, formed of the 10 guild masters of the guild halls throughout the city, with a wide variety of different things. We have found a missing traveling priest. We have fought 2 ridiculously gigantic serpents out of the middle of the lake that seem to have been disrupting their supply of crab. We have investigated an attempt to frame one of the guildmasters themselves for theft from the very regent's vaults. And we found some strange discrepancies in the great wall separating Kovlar from the undead ruins of Sagarok to the north. We have made some progress, and we reported back to the council with our discoveries so far. And the last we had accomplished before ending our previous episode, we were actually invited to the Vault of Regents itself by the head guildmaster, Forge Master Thunderflare of the Anvilers Guild, who allowed each of us to choose one item, one artifact or enchantment of some kind to aid us in our further investigations, but also to reward us for the work done so far. So everyone got some new fancy stuff. The Fortunate Cave Scream also arrived to grant Marshall a pretty fancy throwing mallet, which is it's a pretty fancy throwing mallet, all things considered.
I called it Boomy. It's the name of my new hammer.
Boomy?
Boomy. It's like a boomerang. It goes boom when it crashes into things.
I dig it.
I actually can't be mad. That's probably the best of your weapons names.
Yeah.
I mean,
I came up with Flick.
We're competing with Rectangle, so...
Technically, you came up with rectangle.
You did, actually.
Yeah, but sarcastically.
It was gleefully adopted.
I feel like I can't be blamed if it was a sarcastic suggestion.
No.
No, you're responsible for everything you say.
And in all fairness, Rectangle did wreck a lot of things.
Rectangle's done good work. But as we come back in to our journeys today, we're heading out of the Vault of Regents as the council has dismissed, having heard our progress and told us a little more of further concerns. The Carpenters Guild, Alljoiner Rowe, has deigned to burden us with yet another problem within the city, but also to trust us with the influence of his guild and the things that he's known, which is yet more progress. Now we have 8 of the 10 guild masters that are at least willing to place a degree of faith in the heroes of Reach Hill to assist the city with its problems. And you would have headed out of the vaults with your brand new armful of toys and back into the streets of Kovlar for what is a little past the middle of their day, maybe late afternoon, but what is becoming terribly weary for the group of you who still do not function on this same timekeeping. So back in the streets of the town, my friends. Is it to bed?
Please.
You got more we wish to accomplish?
Bedtime. Well, tough time.
There is the Guild of Arms. They do owe us some trinkets.
That is true. Commander Bronzebeard has promised you some supplies from his vaults as well for your services slaying those 2 gigantic serpents in the lake.
How far away is that?
Like literally 3 blocks over.
You're on the northern end of town in the Council of Regents Hall.
And he's like,
So, yeah, you're not terribly far away. You are... If you want to bring up the map for a moment.
So, Roshin, should we merely skip down to the arms?
You guys are in the little turtle-shaped building. It's the turtle building forever on the right there.
The turtle shape.
And the Guild Hall of Arms is up almost the furthest northwest building in the city itself. The largest of the red buildings up in this last... I don't really know if it really counts as its own district, really. It's largely what were ancient barracks, because Kovlar was once the military district of Sagarok that has kind of been converted into a district. So yeah, I suppose it counts now. It has a name that I have in my sheets here. It is actually just called the Barricade. This entire area itself.
Yeah, fair enough.
So it's not terribly far. A few minutes walk and you'd be able to arrive there, but it would put you yet further away from the Gold Sky Inn and rest.
Well,
Actually, as far as physically possible, without leaving the confines of Kovlar, really.
it works for me. Might as well get it while we are on this side of town.
It'll save us a trip later.
Oh,
I'm already heading that way. I don't know what else.
fine.
Oh, off Marshall goes. Better not let him go by himself.
I'm so sore, but okay.
We can just put you in the bag if you'd like.
I don't want to go in the bag. Okay.
We'll save the little feetsies. You don't have to walk.
I don't have little feetsies. I have normal size feetsies.
Your feet are
That
pretty
is fair.
dainty. Probably it's the small shoes you wear. You ever considered getting a pair of boots? It'd actually let you tramp around a bit better.
The high heels, good for show, not for literally anything you do.
You could always just go barefooted.
I am wearing boots right now. Like, what do you guys think I walk around adventuring in?
High heel boots.
Well, that's true. They're good for your posture.
They're not good for ankles, though.
My ankles are fine.
They're very bad for your feet,
They're
actually.
currently red, swollen, and hobbling.
Like limping down the road. My ankles are fine. You would arrive.
Fantastic.
You would arrive at the Guild of Arms not too long after Commander Bronzebeard's word had come back. And while he did not immediately return back to his own guild hall, Sergeant Stonehill, one of his higher in command, has already received the orders that the 5 of the Heroes of Breach Hill are to be allowed to select something from the Guild of Arms stores. And he would take you back into the armory, in the back side of the building itself, through the main entryway of the Guild of Arms. And the first real time that you've actually come through the main bulk of the building, because normally they kind of made you wait outside when you first got brought here by the scout, and this is I don't think you've really been back here a ton since then.
Not really, no.
And the main hall is very plainly appointed, but large, almost a lion's share of this massive building. It dwarfs all the rest of the buildings in the Barricade District. Is somewhat like an entry to a hunting lodge, if you replaced all of the wood with stone and brickwork. Two massive
No carpenters here.
square hearths flanking either side of the hall. The area looks not so much welcoming, really. It's, again, quite sparsely decorated, save for a couple of mounted weapons and shields, each accompanied with a small chiseled engraved plaque with who had borne them and what deeds they'd accomplished in the Guild of Arms wall. But through the back of that, the military function of the Guild of Arms becomes very apparent. It's divided into some barracks, some armories. It's much, very heavy on function rather than form. Now, there's a polar opposite to the Guild of Fineries quarters. It is certainly the Guild of Arms here. The armory itself in the back is quite sizable. They have access to a lot of weapons and arms and outfitting for their soldiers, and Kovlar's military and their guards seem to be extraordinarily well supplied for a town. At least for human towns on the surface that you would be used to. Again, kind of makes sense adjoining the massive Earthfire district where almost every building is accompanied by the roar of bellows and the clang of anvils. But there's a front area with a few simple seats and a window through a massive gated, what looks almost like the iron bars of a jail cell, separating the back half of the room where all of the weapons, armors, runes, potions, and everything are stored. Sergeant Stonehill brings you back there and just kind of gestures to the seats in the front half of the armory. Pulls a key from his belt, letting himself back in alongside a steward that seems to be running the armory at the moment, who is kind of back amongst the things, seemingly cataloging, inventory, sorting, perhaps. He's got a fairly large ledger in his hand and a quill pen that he's working on something. The sergeant turns back around, over towards the window. All right. Well, it seems I may have misjudged you at our first meeting. And I suppose for that, I owe the good people an apology. But I hardly think you can blame me given the patently ridiculous situation I arrived to find. with a massive building-sized severed head taking up half the docks. But, as I said then and I'll say again now, must have taken some damn fine skill to slay the thing. And the commander's orders here. We have a fair bit of provisions, and you're welcome to your pick of something. We have a wide supply of potions, oils, tinctures, even other sorts of alchemical supplements like bombs and elixirs are used for various type of tasks.
Do you happen to have an extensive collection of talismans?
Aye. The talisman's a weapon and armor both. We find the edges frequently necessary in a lot of our excursions into the tunnels around Kovlar. Keeping the roads safe is among the most difficult tasks the Guild of Arms regularly faces. I hear you all came face to face with the purple worm on your journey here. Again, impressive you're able to survive with just the 5 of you, especially untrained in fighting the things.
It was quite a bit surprising, wasn't it?
It did have a bit of indigestion when it found us. It made things a little simpler.
It almost out was Sheen.
Looking at Marshall when I say that.
It actually did eat me. I was inside it. Thank goodness it
So
spit
was
me
I.
out.
The thing... I want to make sure I understand this correctly. This isn't a point of order or anything contingent on you receiving your supplies you're owed, but... You were eaten by a purple worm,
Quite unpleasant.
and you lived.
It spit me out in a short order.
We were eaten by the big sea monster thingies.
Yes, it
Do you regularly make a habit of getting swallowed by
Well-
massive monsters?
She teleported into it.
That's true.
You teleported in... Alright, well, clearly your tactics are something beyond anything that I'm ever going to be able to comprehend,
I mean,
so...
I would.
you cannot miss if you're inside of the creature.
If it makes you feel better, I ate a couple of creatures on the way in.
I have to imagine that the negatives of finding yourself inside the gullet of a purple worm or anything a similar comparable size has to outweigh the benefits of the thing being easier to stab. Weapons bear near no influence among the beast if you're not hitting them square in the head.
I happen to eat his heart from the inside out. I would differ in opinion. You can get right to it.
All right, so we got Talisman. Both weapon and armor, some of which perhaps could have aided you not being swallowed in the first place. Anything in particular you're after?
For me, it is called a Fed Band. Is similar to one that I had in the past, but better.
And possibly at the top of the list if you're looking to find yourself perhaps less frequently swallowed by some kind of beast. I can fetch one for you. And he turns and just calls back to the steward who's doing whatever he is in the back.
I'll get it for you. Hey,
Who? I'll do it. Yells at somebody else. It's called the chain of command, sir. Who quickly scurries off to fetch a fade band for you.
Fade Band.
Fade band. That's what I said.
Sound like said Bane.
Fade band. Oh, it's a little ring, right? Like it's a little ring that you put on your armor.
Yeah.
What is it?
It's a string you wrap around your armor.
Oh, it's literally like just a band of string.
It's just a thin string, and when you get attacked and they miss, you cast second level invisibility.
I found a nice build.
Wow.
Tie a little shoelace knot in it.
Yep.
Got a neat bow.
Oh no, my target must not exist anymore.
Oh, if only I had object permanence.
He blinked, I'm gone.
All right. Well, the rest of you?
Well, actually, while we're over here in the section for equipment, on the ride over to Kovlar, my shield was basically folded in half about 3 different times. And only through the miracle of the craftsman of Kovlar was it put back in place. Do you have anything that might make it stick around a bit longer?
And he reaches down through a couple of tomes and leather-bound journals and other ledgers he's got down beneath this counter at the window in this station here. Aside from getting you a particular, I suppose, a better shield, which isn't really within the realm of what we're commissioned for, I'm gonna be honest, doling these things out. Aye, steward! he calls back to the lad who's currently rooting around for a fade band, and he kind of turns. Aye, Sergeant Stonehill. Come here a moment. Well, get that band and then come over here. How about the rest of you?
Well,
Anyone else know what they're after?
I was just curious. Do you have anything that's that kind of helps keep my enemies at a distance from me, so I can keep, them further away from me and my allies when necessary?
Have you considered a pole arm?
Well, I have one. Hold on, I just pulls out old Slappy. I got one.
Beyond that, this one actually does come in pretty handy. You guys, are you planning on exploring the tunnels further? You think you'll run into more of these worms? Because it seems like I'm more or less giving you the standard kit for the 2-3 times a year we're called to deal with one on the roads. There is a tincture. It's an oil of sorts that's very highly reactive. You can apply it to your armor, and then when struck with weapon, claw, or in the case of the worm, their very mouths, it almost explosively pushes back. Some kind of magic imbued with it. It's not alchemy, it's Guild of Spells business, but they keep them well supplied with them. They're frequently useful dealing with things much larger than yourself.
Huh.
Repulsion, oil, something of the sort. Hey, steward!
Are you back with that thing yet? I got more.
At this point, the steward is kind of coming around with the fade band, this simple twine that's folded over a few times into a nicely presentable, maybe hand-sized string that he hands out. And then he turns to Sergeant Unhild. Aye, Sergeant. Or something you need me for elsewise? Yeah, this lass here, paladin-looking sort. We got something, we got any oils, potions, or anything for shields getting folded in half a little less easily? And what is it that you want? Because I feel like you have a specific item in mind.
Yeah, it's called a Fortifying Pebble.
Okay, yeah, I don't. The talismans, I don't know all the talismans by nature yet. Fortifying Pebble, you say?
Yup.
Let me take a look here.
You ever get that thing stuck in your shoe, it's never coming out.
If you glue like 15 of those on your armor, it'll fortify your armor.
Sounds like I'm trying to put crystals on it or something.
It's called
Bedazzle.
bedazzling.
Bedazzle. That's a bedazzler. Clink, clink, clink.
Like you need resume to
Staves.
get more reasons to doll you up.
Structures,
She'll just buy a
wands.
bunch of them and glue them to your
Here's
armor.
talisman.
I'm a master crafter. I'm real good at bedazzling things.
You
Oh my
technically
god,
are.
you are bedazzling.
But just because you can do something does
I
not mean
know.
you should.
He should. He totally should.
Fortifying Pebble. That's not core rulebook, is it?
Oh, you know what? It might not be.
I look. Is it Advanced Player's Guide?
It is.
What does it do?
So
Wasn't in the core rulebook. I looked.
I'm sorry. You stick it onto an armor, shield, or weapon, and next time that thing takes damage, you break it and you take 10 less damage.
Oh, fair enough.
It's level 4.
That is a.
It is uncommon though, and is literally the only thing that will keep my shield from breaking. Is
Yeah, I think
A level
With-
4 uncommon.
uncommon level 4 with the supplies the Guild of Arms have. That's something they would definitely be able to get for you. That the steward would know, even if I, as GM, have not member. I was wondering. I was like, I did good on most of the talismans. That's why it's not a CRV one. I don't know all the fancy ones from the other
Sorry.
books yet. I can't. There's just so many things. It's one of the greatest strengths of Pathfinder, right? That there's just an infinite increase of new things that you can
a
use.
lot of things.
But I can't memorize the things as fast as Paizo can write them because they write them spectacularly quickly, really. But yeah, so Fortifying Pebble would absolutely be within their means.
It's actually in the character guide.
Oh, I don't even have a physical copy of that right next to me.
Yeah, it's
Speaking
That's
of
not in my
It's
my
exotic.
quick reference stack.
So speaking of fun things that Paizo has written, the garrote bolt is exactly what it sounds like. It's a bolt that garrotes you.
Garrett.
Garrett's
Garrot-
you.
It Garrett's
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
There's
I
no
mean, why not
Garrot.
just shoot somebody with a bolt in the throat then?
I feel like if you have the precision to use the Garrett bolt, you could just use a regular bolt.
Well,
But-
specifically, the reason is because if you shoot them with it and you get a critical, they are immediately suffocating.
oh, fair enough.
Or you could just shoot a blanket at them
Right.
and then sit on their
A
face.
wet blanket.
Someone
Someone's gonna like this is kind of stand up on his tiptoes over and point out an open ledger. 34 lines down. I want that.
What's he looking at?
Just like that's
I can't guess on that one. I got nothing.
the magic arrow, the magic ammunition.
Spell storing ammunition.
Yeah.
Oh, spell storing ammunition? Okay.
What, a
Yeah.
type 5?
Matthew looks down. Sure, I could definitely get you a bit of this, but we're not also gonna have the Guild of Spells enchanted for you. That's gonna be something you're gonna finagle yourself.
I can cast magic.
You're a magic rat?
I'm not a rat, but I am magic.
Razzie.
I'm magic Yusoki.
Is that what I've heard? It's like a damn children's story.
Clap
get
my
him started.
hands. Sparkles. There's prestidigitation.
You're like one of those you're like one of them wizards pets that got enlightened.
Wow.
That's exactly.
Are you
Very
are you
offensive.
just a human that got squished?
Okay, I just kind of pick up Raz and just gently move him to the other side of the room. Okay, Raz, don't screw this up.
I shuffle back over. You can keep that. Yusoki.
What is this?
It's a piece of paper that tells us what Yusoki is. Written in dwarf.
He kind of tosses it back over to your side of the window. Keep it. We'll get your spell storing bolts. All right, so Fortifying Pebble, spell storing bolts. Are you paying attention, Sturdy? You're writing this down. He's like, I have it, Sergeant. It's 2 things. I can remember it. Repulsion gel. You then.
I understand that they have gems that will allow you to summon various creatures, perhaps earth spirits or elementals.
Did he contract you again with... Is there another purple worm? Because I haven't gotten anything about a purple worm, but you're getting a repulsion gel, a fade band, and you're looking for one of those rock lads to track them, aye?
I was actually just looking for one because I wanted to play a hand of cards, and none of these folk are any good, so I was hoping the golem might actually give me a challenge.
Can they think?
Oh yes, they're very good card players.
She says that, but she hasn't won against me yet.
All right.
I feel like I
I'm-
need to practice.
That's
I
what
feel like
she
I need to have
wants
to
the golem.
talk
Does
with the
she
High
stand a
Magos.
chance?
Ain't nobody who thinks could think. He told me just throw the rock on the ground and it does what we tell it to do.
Oh no! You haven't been giving them encouragement and telling them what a good job they're doing?
They work fine without that.
They must
right?
be so depressed. One of these days you're gonna do it and they're just not gonna come.
All right, Stuart. Find me some time in the High Magos' schedule to be contact for these gems and for the repulsion oil and the other elixirs. And then get me one of those landslide rocks, will you? And the steward nods again. Aye, Sergeant. Hey, you write it down. You got this. I got it, Sergeant. Thank you. And he,
Resme puts her hand back behind her back for Trishik to give her a low 5.
as he heads back and finds out a couple of things, bringing back a handful of different talismans. This Fortifying Pebble for your shield, a piece of spell storing ammunition for Raz to fire. What is it that you get? There's an arrow or a bolt?
It's
or
a bolt.
It's a bolt. I kind of figured it was a bolt. A little tiny spell storing bolt.
Oh, it's ammunition. You can choose what type. It could be a pebble, it can be an arrow, or a bolt.
Can you actually just have a rock?
It's spell storing
Swing
ammunition.
ammo.
That's fair, I suppose.
ammo.
Or if you're a certain defender of Kintargo, what I'm pretty sure is just anti-aircraft
storing.
munitions.
Yeah.
She flings with her hoe.
Turn to flak rounds when she throws it.
Spell storing 30mm flak.
I had to think of this repulsion gel for Marshall. Repulsion oil? Repelling oil? I
oil.
don't remember exactly what the name
I
is.
think it's
but
oil.
I know
I
it's-
think it is oil repulsion.
It's
repulsion gel is portal. Repulsion oil is the thing that we need here. Brings all of these back for the group of you, as well as a small gemstone. What looks like a gemstone, about the size of your hand. It's cut very sheer. A very squared and sort of muddied dark crystal that's not transparent at all. And looks very similar to 2 other identical gemstones that you have in your bag that I don't believe we've
We
identified.
haven't identified those still.
That we found in Gumchek's hoard back in the Hall of Gugs. He puts these things on the counter in this little window in the massive gate and slides them all out to your end here.
That gem looks awfully familiar.
Huh.
It looks like the ones we got back with the gugs. Gug.
Oh, I totally forgot that we had those. Well, I guess we know what they are now.
We've just been so wrapped up in all of these things, these errands. We never actually. Goodness, we still have the coin collection. We have to sell. Trishik, we have to sell that. Surely there's a collector in Kovlar who'll take it.
You have a coin
Right.
collection?
No,
It was in the same hoard. You've forgotten it
You're
exists.
such a nerd.
I think everyone was busy not dying.
Yeah, immediately leaving. And then getting tossed into a pitch black area full of undead, being led by a dwarf who said, we could talk to this one undead, but you speak necro, so I really don't like you, but you can talk to the dude, so now we're inside. And then there's all these other problems, now we're here.
Yeah.
There's a large amount of distractions
Then we went through
and
customs.
diversions that happened immediately after
I mean, list of
finding what the
priorities.
Gugs thought was important. And yeah, we kind of forgot about all that, huh?
It was dark and scary.
I guess we'll take them out and take a look at them since we're sitting
And
here.
if you pull those two crystals with that similar or aura of conjuration across them out of your bag, they would look exactly identical to the crystal that was just handed to you by the steward.
Well, you know what? Now we have a third, and 3's a lucky number.
Because that's a fact now.
I would have to disagree.
I thought it was 4.
Man, I would really like one of these elemental gems. Here you go. Oh, I have 2 of them. Oh, that's awesome.
Now you can feel 3 times as bad.
Ooh, are they for different types of elementals at least?
They, now knowing what it is, you would need some time to sit down and identify them. But when you get that time, when you get back to your in here,
You mean
now
like a minute?
They're literally all living landslide elemental gems. Because you wanted a living landslide elemental gem, and 2 living landslide elemental gems are what you got from the Gug Horde. So now you have 3 living landslide elemental gems.
Something is getting crushed.
Look at this little guy. He's so happy.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can we take
It's
a
all right,
look
we
at,
have 2
Put
more.
him.
Can we take a look at the coins?
Yeah. There we go.
It's a
He's a
collection.
nice little.
You sell it,
He's
Oh.
so tiny.
then you get money.
Oh.
I
Put him in the
mean,
dice. Put him in the dice tray. Dice
Marshall kind of wants
tray.
some pet rock.
Wow. Look at him. He's a little. He looks really angry in that picture, but it's because he's been sitting in your bag for like 9 sessions.
Since I have
Hasn't been identified at any point.
since I have 3 of them, can I like keep him over here now so I can like cast him like he's a like in a little
Yeah,
ball?
sure. Hand that down there.
Pokemon battle thing.
Have a bestiary pawn. That's your living landslide. You can absolutely just pokeball him out whenever you want.
Times 3.
Times 3.
Nice.
So with that, as they hand everything over, the sergeant signs off something on the bottom of this missive that he has, and hands it to the steward, who signs it as well. Right then, that was everything we had commissioned for you from the commander. I'll have to ask you all to head out of the armory so I can seal this back up. But and as he lets himself out and then locks that door behind him, leaving the steward to head back to his ledger and continue to do what he was doing. He escorts you not just back out of the armory, but relatively quickly all the way back out to the front door of the Guild of Arms. Again, I apologies about our first meeting in the docks there. It seems I had you in the wrong, and you very much have done what the commander was hoping for. You helped him in the city of Kovlar out. For
We're
that,
fine.
we're all grateful.
We understand the skepticism. It's not often you have a large monster's head put in your bag.
And he quickly stands, raises both arms up so his elbows about level with his shoulder, and puts both fists into his chest, which is a dwarven show of respect. Something kind of akin to a salute. Anyway. Right. And he turns and heads back into the guild hall with kind of a nod and sort of awkwardly just shuts the door.
I would have returned the gesture, but that would have hurt.
I was pretty
It
sure
actually
he was,
did hurt. We went to the gym like yesterday and it was chest day. I should not have done that. That didn't feel good. My muscles are sad because they don't exist. And I'm making them do things.
Hey, Squid, when
How can
you're
they
a
be sad
woman,
if they
it's
don't
always
exist?
chest day.
So, what now, friends?
I was pretty sure he was stupid when we met him on the docks, but now I'm positive he's just an idiot.
He lacks understanding of things a little beyond his scope of work.
He has a head full of rocks.
Yes.
I'm just rather interested that we're actually getting a purple worm hunting kit, apparently, entirely by accident.
Are we planning on hunting another one?
I mean,
It's very possible down here.
We'll have to get back to Jewel Kit eventually.
we'll need another trophy for the trophy room back at the castle.
But maybe now he'll be nicer to elementals in the future.
Can't believe you told him that and he bought it. It was amazing.
So I'm going to go home now and take a nice long nap. Goodbye. And I'm going to Dimension Door.
You guys the cave?
Yep.
Oh, that's not
Cave and
fair.
mounted back immediately back to your hotel room. Right back into the bathtub.
Yep.
Perfect.
I guess I'll walk.
Whoop. Bye, guys.
I need to get one of those.
Yes, I know.
I'm gonna fleet step all of us, since I have tons of spells I haven't used.
Just please step.
Plus 30 feet move.
Plus 30
sounds like
feet for a minute.
Well, I guess logically, because your movement speed is like not full out running, but it's hustling. It's like combat movement. It's definitely not the way you wearily trudge through town. But I suppose if it magically enhanced your movement speed while you were hustling or sprinting, it would also, I suppose, similarly increase it while you're walking. So I guess that just looks like
Enhancing your movement speed does not expand a 5-foot step.
Yeah, well, 5-foot step's kind of a different. That is also accurate, though. But a 5-foot step is kind of a unique thing, because it's sort of like disengaging. It's like detaching yourself from an enemy while protecting. You're keeping yourself defended, and that's just kind of a thing that really only is about just getting a square away. That's more about the defensive problem than the actual movement speed. I imagine if you fleet step your party here and you walk back to the Gold Sky Inn, it's like
Fast walking.
those games where you have an escort quest and they didn't put a run animation on the dude, so he's just scoot walking real fast. I imagine the four of you were just ripping through Kovlar.
Make him a weight down.
You just particularly poorly animated.
It plays like the little rocks music from like the Yogi Bear thing.
It's like a time lapse, but in real time.
Everyone's just
weird
looking like, what?
It's probably very odd looking to just the people going about their day throughout Kovlar, because it's
magic.
It's the 2 perception physics engine.
the 2 perception physics engine,
It's a hell of a drug.
and the group of you would
Band flying on this server.
open help, report player, speed hacking. The group of you arrive back to the Gold Sky Inn
No clip.
and will be able to make your way to your beds and your night's rest with no further difficulties.
I'm gonna get
I cast before that. I wait for him to go to sleep, and I cast dreaming potential on him again. We're gonna get you through this. So I'm here with you.
Does it work better or worse with how heavily he sleeps?
As long as he sleeps the full 8 hours.
So better.
Yes.
All right, fair enough. So, as you sleep, Rasheen, you still sleep with your Dreamstone, yes?
Yeah, I do, actually.
You want to move us over to the dungeon playlist for a moment. As you sleep for the evening, you would yet again find yourself awakening in this cavern lit with nothing but red lights. The glow of this pool of magma extends out. It feels like you can't tell how far. The state's still almost dreamlike. Distances seem kind of warped. Your senses just seem to end after so far. Like you just can't visibly see as far as you feel like you should be able to. And this familiar heat, this warmth, dry, burning almost against your skin, awakens you on the stone next to this pool.
Oh, back here again.
Your mother, Damati, is not immediately visible. Normally, she's nearby waiting, sat, or possibly even kneeling over you as you awaken, but the moment you seem to be alone,
That's interesting. Kind of peer at that lava lake, make sure there aren't any clear waves of something moving around.
You look down. The surface of the magma seems immobile. It's bright red and orange, save for around the edges where ridges of black buildup crusting the top kind of wash up, almost forming a ramp up around the edges of this lake itself. But it's almost completely motionless. Honestly, with your knowledge base, you're not even, and if you hadn't seen the creature that lurks wherein, it would look almost solid, just like the surface of a hot stove. You certainly shouldn't walk across it, but it would look as if you could. But after a moment, the surface, maybe 5 feet out, would pull upwards, like the lava itself was rising, but a shape much smaller than the form of Strimalura, the dragon that you've seen emerge previously. Something more your size, almost as if a statue of yourself was erecting itself out from the surface of this magma. It doesn't run like water. It pulls upwards, almost like a tarp, just kind of extending and stretching, and the surface of the lake around kind of pulling in toward it a bit, this disruption lessening with distance, stretching like taffy, before the top of it finally cracks, breaking, letting out a rush of steam, a hiss, as it starts to peel and fall back down, landing in strips on the surface that don't, again, not drop like they would into water, but almost fuse like hot steel being hammered, folded over, back before they end flush with the surface. Reveal Tamati, rising out from the lava before finally taking her place, just standing cautiously on the surface. Barely seeming to have any weight, just almost up on the balls of her feet a bit.
Is that entirely comfortable, Mother?
It's something that I imagine, given time, perhaps, if you were to embrace the true depth of your power, you too would find pleasant. It's akin, I would guess, to summer's breeze. Warm and comforting, but
Fascinating.
all-encompassing.
Something to look forward to, I suppose.
As are our meetings, my child. Tell me, how have things been?
Things proceed. Certainly the moils of dwarven politics isn't exactly something that I enjoy, but we're making progress here. Yes, the Triad that we've been tracking, they seem to... Perhaps you actually might know more about this than I do. The cold ones, the Druegar that the dwarves speak of, certainly with a great deal of loathing in their voice. They seem to have some history. It's possible they've maybe been causing trouble here, infiltrating a bit. You wouldn't have to know anything about it. Maybe you could point us in a direction.
I have not dedicated any of my own time to the trifles of this town or its people.
No worries.
I know of Dwerger, their existence from study and from incidental knowledge, but it's nothing I've personally sought out. However, they're of little consequence. Divine purpose, even divine favor, it is what drives true consequence in this world. Things that are allowed to happen throughout not just this world, but throughout the planes, throughout the multiverse, they're willed by such powers, puppet strings, played by the fates above. These cold ones, these Dwerger, They turned from the light of their god. They abandoned the whims of fate, turned their back to them, and lost everything. It's unwise.
I can understand it. But as someone who's both been on the benefit and on the drawback of divine intervention, is it something that they've doomed themselves for? Or have they simply found their own version of freedom, I wonder?
They live in cloying darkness and cold, toiling beneath the world for a god that only cares for their sweat. If this is freedom, it's one that I want no part of.
I can understand that.
But your dwarven politics,
Not my dwarven politics.
nor mine, but their consequences are far-reaching. Something that I, too, have borne witness to. This dwarf, she seeks allies. She may well reach for these Dwerger, this Scarlet Triad, as she continues to reach for Strymalura, for the power contained here. Their goals do intertwine, and the power within this very lake entertains the notions of this mortal as an amusement, as a child would a toy, encourages her, gives her pointless platitudes and empty promises. But I worry that whatever it is that you and your friends are doing, whatever it is you seek within this town, you are wasting your days, and days that truly are numbered. Dangerously so. The politics of Kovlar will be left as only cinders before they've even been able to count, perhaps on their fingers and toes, more Forge Knights. Strymalura grows impatient and beyond that bored. She wishes for the whole of Sagarok.
Well, from what I've seen, Kovlar is well protected, but if there is anything that could batter down those walls, I'd imagine Strymalura would be it.
The feeble enchantments that their magi have placed up are nothing in the face of the forces that Strymalura commands. It's an inevitability, like a flood break holding the ocean. It only buys time, and in the scheme of things, that time is precious little. My child, you have so much more in this world to seek. You have so much more that you could be. If you are reduced to ash, along with all of these dwarves living their pointless, meandering lives, I cannot bear to see that.
Oh, please, Mother, please understand. Our interests are aligned. I have no intention of becoming a pile of ash either.
Then come to me. Prostrate yourself in Sagarak. Declare who you are, who you come to seek. None there will dare to raise a hand against the dragon they now serve. You can find me, and together, Rasheen, you can find yourself. Do you feel, even in this dream, a nagging in your mind? Make me a will save.
Sure. That's gonna be a 33.
You are a changeling. And it is perhaps the fate of all of your kind. Eventually, Mother does come calling.
Mm-hmm.
You have lore. You have hag lore.
I
Right?
sure
you
do.
have a pretty. What's your proficiency in hag lore?
It's only trained.
It's trained, but you have dedicated some amount of your life, as probably all changelings have, to studying, reading up, and trying to learn. But there's precious little real written knowledge of what happens when the call comes, as there truly are very few who are able to resist it, and even less who are still the same person after they may have been able to. Or were willing to really share what is an intensely trying and personal experience. But this pulling on your mind, as your mother speaks with you here, this offer it's comforting. You get a feeling, no matter what your conscious or your judgment tells you, that your mother truly tells you this only as a mother looking out for the best interest of her child. Like trying to prevent an infant from burning themselves on a fire.
Or a pool of lava.
Or a pool of lava. Just trying to direct you. And you feel that this intent is pure. But somewhere, some part of you is as ready as it can be for this moment, and you know that something here is wrong, even if somehow you can't identify exactly what that is.
Mother, please understand. I'll not be here when Kovlar starts burning. I'll take good care of myself. We'll hunt down this triad and take it apart, as we said. And with your help, as we agreed, and as perhaps it should be, I'm calling. But not before then. Don't get impatient.
I have waited the entirety of your life. Years upon decades, counting. Some days more. I can still wait. I see why Milani has taken a liking to you. Your destiny is one of blood and fire. Fates have powerful plays in store for you. It's
Play it right back.
perhaps wise even for a god to back one with such potential.
You speak highly of me, Mother. Perhaps you'll back me too.
Truly, it is my greatest wish.
I mean what I said earlier, the last time. It's not just a one-way street. Indeed, if we're to be peers at some point, let me know. I understand you don't care what happens here, but perhaps
course.
something might catch your eye.
Of course, my child, of course. There is so much more to learn about the very nature of existence that these squabbles you toil for now will seem like a child's first drawings, so proud of their simple lines and shapes, until they truly learned how much more they could be, much more there was.
To be honest, I feel similarly that way about the wars back in Galt. They all seem so silly at this point. But for now, what I do now, it means something. To more than just me.
Rest well, Rasheen, but while I am patient, and I can wait, Strymalura, her passion burns with an inner fire. Soon, her emotions will get the better of her sense.
Less than 20 forge days, you said.
I cannot count her mind. but I certainly wouldn't feel safe staying even that.
Right. Thank you for the information. I'll keep myself safe.
I'm proud of you, Rashid.
Thank
How
you.
far
Mother.
you've come.
I'll get even farther yet. Don't you? Just watch.
And she's still this whole time. Even though she seems visually to be standing some dozen feet out in this lake of lava. And her voice is quiet. It's as if she was speaking just standing in front of you. As if you were close, held together. Almost intimate. Somehow a dozen feet apart. Stream-like state. Somehow making it difficult to gauge even the basics of your situation. But with that, you can feel this exhaustion welling back up within you. The weariness and the woes of your physical existence pulling you back to sleep.
Before she goes, she's just going to try one thing. She's going to sit down at the edge of the lake and just kind of very gingerly approach a toe to the surface of the lava.
And you can feel, even by the edge of the lake, even as you reach towards it, the heat is near exponential with how fast it increases. But what should be fire, what should burn you, what even is still inches away from the surface, should shear the flesh from your bones just from the radiance coming off of this magma. It does almost feel comforting. It never transitions to pain. And as you reach down, even to just touch the surface of this lava, this magma here, it's like dipping a toe into a warm pool, to a refreshing spa.
Oh,
Just
no.
even that bit of touch, you can feel the comfort.
Fascinating.
The mother just watches us do this. Smile on her face. Doesn't say anything, doesn't interrupt. You can see the drowsiness kind of taking you. But she sees you touch it. Her smile grows a bit further before sleep takes you. And you awaken in the morning, as the rest of your party does. What's not really a morning, I suppose. It would certainly be on the surface. Back in the Gold Sky Inn, the warmth of your bed in Kovlar. That sort of almost warm embrace of the lava, even just barely touching it like a cocoon replaced by the blankets of your actual bed wrapped around you. And the five of you awaken to a new day. The same day in Kovlar, which would just be an hour or two into the ensuing Forge Night. And with the great conflict of scheduling that is surface calendars versus the dwarven timekeeping of the Five Kings Mountains, the whole of your day, a toil day on the surface, is going to be in the night of Kovlar. With nary but the taverns, restaurants, and simple supply stores at the Traveler's Quarter open to you, and the rest of the city sleeping. Sleeping like stones throughout the whole time the group of you are going to be awake.
Those were tough.
Morning, sleepyhead.
Oh, good morning.
Raz still sleeps in their room. He's already on the ground with paper everywhere.
Marshall has just
Reading.
moved the two beds together and he sleeps on both.
Yeah.
You really like. You have 5 people, 4 beds, and Marshall's using 2 beds to himself.
In all fairness, it's not just for me. It's for Big Red too. He's a big boy that needs his rest.
You tuck your axe in when you go to sleep at night.
I haven't given a kiss.
He reads the bedtime stories.
I would
too.
expect nothing less.
You can't use the fire if the axe is fatigued.
Ooh.
You also have to praise it. You have to tell it doing a good job every single day too. Like the
Exactly.
golems.
See, I understand how your pet rocks work.
So as you ready yourselves, get your breakfast, bathe, and ready for. I hesitate calling it the morning because it's not really. It's
Wakey time.
wakey time. We'll go with wakey time while we're here in Kovlar.
Wakey time. That sounds
Fixing a talisman.
Fixing a talisman, I believe, takes 10 minutes.
Is it a roll?
No, you just do it.
Okay. I didn't remember if talismans were different.
You just go.
I'm
For 10
definitely
minutes.
going to affix my talisman then.
You have to make the boop sound though, or else it
Yeah.
doesn't work.
You have very bad glue. You have to hold it for 10 minutes.
I have that on my quick reference sheet, which I think I didn't actually bring here because I pretty much have learned everything on there at this point. I'm almost positive it's a 10-minute activity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a roll or anything. It's just that you can't like hot swap them in combat or anything.
But there's a whole archetype.
There is an archetype that lets you do that.
You want to be really good at it.
And it also gives you like free talismans per day in the morning, right?
Yep.
You could be Talisman.
So what is the plan for this Surface Days adventure?
We can't really do anything that requires interacting with individuals.
Yeah, not any
So-
sort of major sources or even like the people really outside the Traveler's Quarter.
We do have some hints. We could look into them. Like, we know the general area that we need to look in.
So at this point, you have learned a decent amount of things. Though a lot of your investigations have eventually reached a dead end. Or been left with several threads that seem impossible to pursue. You were starting to build a repository of information.
The red
About-
threads are getting closer and closer together.
There is a great, I think it's in the Advanced Player's Guide. There is a really great piece of art of Lem the Bard literally standing on a table, excitedly pointing at a wall covered in red threads and papers and pictures.
Brad's is doing right now in the
And
room.
Mauricio is literally asleep at the table. And he's just like, no, this. And she's actually unconscious. Like,
They're at eye level. He's standing
on a table and they're eye level. It's one of my favorite pieces of Paizo art that's ever come out is that picture. It's beautiful. But, indeed, it's starting to come together. What have we learned? What have we learned about the greater woes of Kovlar? Or what do we think we learned? What do we have? What seems possible?
Well, we definitely know the Scarlet Triad is here, and that my somewhat distant cousin is trying to haggle favor for favor on this whatever they're doing here. I guess I
You
don't know.
scratch my back, I'll kill everyone in town. All right.
Yeah, come on.
Fair. What else?
We know the general region where the abductions are happening. It's all on a specific side of town.
You do know that Talos and Miss Hemlock both seem to have disappeared around the same time, and both seem to have been in the Earthfire District. You would also know that a decent amount of the other things you investigated, particularly the flaws in the wall, were also the part of the wall that's closest to the Earthfire District. So you have kind of up on the west side of the barricade.
And the imposter, and when they stole the anti-magic room out of the vault, the imposter, that's right next to Earthfire District too.
Yeah.
We also, even with the vision, it does seem like we have at least an idea of the kind of place it might be. So we can start to look for structures or places that might lead someplace like that.
It was shaken, it was unclear, but you did get a telepathic vision from Talos of a room of some sort. It seems like it would take a pretty great amount of space. Even if it were hidden underground, a lot of the buildings throughout that area, a lot of the forges and their smithies do extend into basements just due to the space constraints of living inside of a cave. So it would need to be in an area where the underground is somewhat unaccounted for.
So Earthfire District, large-sized buildings that look like you could have a lot of people coming and going and not really notice it, maybe.
Inconspicuous.
You're starting to put together a decent profile of what might very well be a base of what it seems to be. You look like you're having thoughts.
I just thought it'd be ironic if it was underneath the Temple of Torag.
See, I was thinking it's under the forges.
Where is the Temple of
You see
Torag?
that amphitheater-looking building right there?
I'll bring us the map real quick here.
It's that, right?
The Temple of Torag is the large amphitheater in the northwestern side of the main body of the town.
Huh.
That is that is both a temple. I mean, there are several temples of Torag within Kovlar. That is both a large kind of open air place of dwarven worship and penance, as well as the location of the public anvils and forges. That's it's built around what is basically a building-sized massive shrine to Torag.
Public anvils?
Yeah.
So it's like how we have like public barbecues inside parks. They have public anvils inside temples.
Yeah. It's more like how we have like public swimming pools.
You can just show up to your oh, I need to go use this anvil. Oh, good thing I can go to my local anvil.
Or I guess public barbecues
town.
like in parks and stuff. Yeah, exactly like that.
Huh.
They have
It's a dwarf town. What do you
they have a public area with forges and anvils that are free for non-dwarves and non-residents of Kovlar to just come use at their leisure.
Because anviling is a tribute to Torag.
It is.
It's a form of worship.
Huh.
Yeah.
Things you learn.
Why can't we have like real life
I don't-
equivalents of that? I would love to work
I don't.
an anvil just for the heck of it.
Well,
There's,
good news.
there's legit like a workshop like just down off Archer Road. You can go in and seriously, there is.
There's also, I was going to say, good news. You live in Florida, and there are a ton of horse people here.
Yeah, but you
and
can't
horse
do it
people
for
come
free.
with farriers.
You can't do it for free though.
They can't do it for free, no. But they do, me and Bren actually went to one. They do have, like, showcases.
Yeah, I went
Which
to the
are-
same one you told me about.
Yeah, they have, like, public, that you can't, like, do stuff, I think,
Why
much. But,
can't
like,
I do the thing. I want to be the one who hits the hammer on the big clang clang.
He wants to
I want to do ding, ding, ding.
Yes.
I
Tell you
don't.
what, I'm gonna get it. I'll get an anvil, and you can come over and bang something on it anytime you want.
We'll call Bren's farrier and ask for a favor.
Just give me a
They'll
strip
let
of
you
metal.
just come, like, hit stuff and feel good about yourself.
But it's great
There
for
you go.
stress. Hammer
Probably
out-
is,
hammer
honestly.
out all the stress.
It's great.
I mean-
death
and your
actually.
bones. You'll have no bones after you're done because you'll be very tired because you're not used to doing that kind of stuff.
I don't have bones.
But yes, there are public forges within this large kind of public area, which really is Kovlar's equivalent to a city park. This big amphitheater built around this massive symbol of Torag. The arms, what are the front and back of an anvil called? What functionally are like the overhangs of this large symbol.
One's the
have-
tongue,
yeah, there's
and
the tongue.
one's
the
the.
back of the
The
anvil.
butt. Let's go with.
Let's
the
go
butt.
with the butt.
No, we're gonna call them the tonsils.
I don't like the fact that the two parts of the anvil are the tongue and the butt, but we'll go with that.
The tongue and the tonsils.
the tongue and
The
the butt.
tonsils are right behind the
Something
tongue.
occurs to me, like banging on an anvil is really loud, and it's in an amphitheater, which is basically acoustically designed to reflect sound everywhere.
That's the,
That's the goal. I mean,
that was
like,
the point for
on the-
worshiping Torag.
like-
You want him to hear it.
Also in a cave.
All
it's
of
called the heel, apparently.
heel. That makes more
Okay.
sense. Yeah. tongue and heel.
I still like the butt better.
Throughout with Sirenscape here, our great partner that does all of the ambiance and the sound sets here, while we just have the City of Kovlar sound set on for a lot of the time that we're doing things, it actually is like the predominant sound that you can probably hear in the audience and that you guys can hopefully hear through the speakers occasionally is just banging anvils. Like that's sort of just omnipresent throughout the city. It really does sort of get amplified by this amphitheater, as it is a sound that is pleasant to a lot of dwarven kind.
We have the tongue and the butt. Apparently, it's the horn and the heel.
We weren't far off. We were just worse in every way. But we were in the right
No, we
area.
weren't. We weren't anywhere
geographically.
near. No.
Yeah, we tried.
We were in the right general direction.
Horn and heel sound like great fantasy curses. By horn and heel.
I mean, that would
It's
probably be
butt.
something that Claire, like a
Yeah,
champion of.
no.
I thought that.
Awful. Awful.
I think a Torag.
I can absolutely see a champion of Torag is saying that.
reading the God
I
book.
tongue-
I mean, like hammer and anvil is an Toragian aphorism that's fairly common.
I think all.
That's
clergy-
basically the dwarven version of "Oh my God" is the hammer and anvil,
I think all dwarven clergy should be deaf then. In that case.
just from the banging.
Constant
They're probably
banging.
somewhat. Old dwarves would probably tend to be fairly hard of hearing, I'd
Yeah.
imagine. But we have strayed from the path here.
Just a bit.
I guess we could look at. I mean, I guess we could just go in and break in and spy.
Oh, it's an open place. Actually, we could just walk. in.
Yeah, you could. It's not like
Yeah.
it's closed. You are not allowed to use the forges in the anvils because it is the forge night, and that is the point is that the lights along the road are quenched. Forges and anvils the Forges within the Anvilers Guild being some of an exemption because of their feed method, but are largely quenched for the evening. And there are no hammerfalls within the city.
I wouldn't mind taking a look at the tracks that the people who clean out the forges use. If you were going to sneak around, doing it there and doing that might be a good way to do it.
If there was someone there, I would have seen them the night that we had the stakeout.
But those are the people who come in and clean. What if they just stayed? What if they didn't come in?
They clean in the morning.
Yeah,
Right
that's
at
what
night.
But that's what I'm saying. They could just be down there.
If you would like to point me in direction, I'm happy to break and enter any building you would so choose.
Anyone who wishes to spend this day,
I wish.
any group of you could kind of either work on this together, or you could go in a group and aid each other. You can try with these clues that you have to attempt to find where what appears to be a possible cult of the Forgotten Sun, a cult to Droskar, is operating within the city. You can do this using either perception, society, or survival.
Perception.
And if you're doing different checks, you can't aid each other with different checks. So if you want to go together and try to learn, you need to be using the same check for the aid. But there are 3 options for how you wish to go about investigating this.
Raz is going to actually. I'm just going to split myself off. I think it might be smarter if we just split up.
Split up, walking around the district where
Split up
people
and
get
search for clues.
kidnapped at night with
Are
no
they going
witnesses.
to kidnap him?
I'm not worried about Marshall.
What about you?
They can try, but what about you?
I'm fine. I can run really fast.
We found you
Do
in
you
a
know how-
jail cell. You had literally been
Oh.
kidnapped by slavers.
Oh, okay. In my defense, I wasn't kidnapped. I walked in.
I mean, she still has a point, man.
Reyes, would
We
you
should
like
at least
to...
go in groups of 2.
Yes, Reyes, would you like to stick to the rooftops with me?
That's not a bad idea, you know.
And then we'd have uneven groups.
I'm.
Oh, you let us worry about that.
It doesn't.
Don't worry. If you and me go to the roofs and we
Well-
look around, we can let these 3 do what they will do.
How about I stay within earshot of you and something happens, I yell.
It is fine as long as we give him the stone, please.
Of course. Here.
Problem, his solution right there. And you'll hear that in your head.
You hear a lot of talking right now. Just a lot of gibberish. And
The thing that happens every time someone gets introduced to the concept of telepathy, thought vomit.
Immediately regrets.
It's my second favorite thing behind people replying to sending that don't know what sending is, which is definitely my favorite of the magical telepathic interactions.
All right. So I'm going that way.
It is fine. I will be relatively close by. And I'm absolutely just going to be sneaking and following him
That's the thing.
around.
You go high, I go low. We stay within earshot. We're good. We search different areas, cover more stuff.
Yes.
That's smart.
All right,
Don't
so
worry. I'm going to be right behind him.
so
That's for the best.
Resume, Roshin, and Marshall are going together, and Raz and Trishik are half unwittingly going together. So as you head out to the northwestern side of town, the general region of the Earthfire District to investigate, what are each of you doing as you go?
Perception.
I'm doing perception. What are you doing?
I thought you meant for the check.
No, we'll get to not the check yet. I understand. I gave you 3 skills and you told me to skill back. But like, what are you doing as you go around and investigate?
Definitely sneaking, sticking to rooftops, following the whims of the very scatterbrained individual of the party.
Takes a left, takes a left, takes a right, takes a left.
What are you doing, Raz?
Doing that.
Raz is actually down on all 4s. He's looking around on ground level, seeing if anything looks out of place to the buildings. I know it's stone. I know it's stone, so there won't be.
Racist.
That's why I ignored it.
That's
how
no
you
Buddha.
talk.
You don't ignore it. You call it out.
Are you thinking about flies, sir? Anyways,
I don't know what you're talking about.
I guess you can call him skittered brain.
looking around for anything that's out of place along the buildings.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Rasheen, what's your avenue? What do you after? You got the party of 3 you working together.
So, this amphitheater's got me thinking. I knew someone actually played music using glasses with water in them. And you'd play the notes and it'd come at different tones based on how much water is in the glass. It's actually fascinating to display. But I also noticed that when the tones are just right, it would actually make other water in other glasses vibrate. You're saying that the vision, there is actually a lot of machinery moving around, a lot of clank and a lot of grinding. The amphitheater here is massive. If indeed it is underneath this place, we could actually put water in glasses around and see if the water is vibrating. Shouldn't be any other sound here. It'd be an idea. See if anything was happening. Because certainly we might not hear it ourselves, but...
Well, there is a slight problem with that. This entire mountain might actually be pretty active, geologically speaking. We can't really know whether or not the vibrations are made by what they're doing, or if it's just the natural movement of the magma or whatever is going on under this rock.
You said an awful lot of things there, and I didn't understand a word of it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me back up a little bit.
The hot rocks.
So, what are you doing at this investigation, Resume?
So I know you didn't give crafting as an option, so I'm going
You can't crafting your way out of everything here.
All right.
This
However,
is a dwarven city, sir.
Wait a
however,
Glasses up. Oh,
what I do know is that if you are going to have this type of tunnel and this type of construct, you're going to need a certain amount of scaffolding and space and area underneath that won't become unsteady.
Right.
So you would need very stable formations and areas where everything under was stable.
Okay.
So if we can look for places where that might be more the case than in others, we might be able to narrow it
So
down.
you're almost like surveying,
Yeah.
trying to figure out. Resume's got the water cup, or Russian's got the water cup approach.
Also got an idea, but granted it more feeds off your ideas. So, we can use my magic sandbox to determine if there's a room nearby that we haven't seen before underground.
oh, that's a good one. That's a
That's
good point.
a
That's a
great
very good point.
idea.
But it only works once, doesn't it?
It only works once on a very small area, so we just have to try to narrow it down as much as we can with maybe one of your ideas, and then once we get the rough idea, I can use my magic sandbox to give us a rough picture of where the secret entrance is or whatever.
Oh, that's nice. I like that.
I
It's
like
very good.
that.
It's
That's
very
a
good.
great
Okay.
idea.
So that's pretty big brain Marshall strats here. So you're
Warfare.
Well, there you go. What are you doing? So you're kind of waiting for them to narrow things down. So what are you doing while they're doing their like initial investigations here?
Well, if I got a little bit of downtime, I'm gonna go ahead and swap out my fire room with my shifting room, and if that's enough downtime.
That's like a day of downtime.
Oh, that's a
That's
day?
like
Never
you're
mind.
not here. You're back at the end doing that. instead.
case.
Which you could do, but if you're out with them, this is also like a full day of downtime. So
Okay, so
like
never
this
mind
is your
then.
whole day. Is
well, I mean, I gotta wait on them regardless to narrow it down because I only got one shot with the box, and then I have to wait a day for it to recharge.
right.
We could just get you at the end of the day once our investigations are done.
Honestly, that might be better.
So you want to work on the room?
I'm gonna go ahead and work on swapping the runes while they narrow it down. Once they find it, then I'll come running and be like, "Here's my box."
Okie dokie.
I'll
So
try to explain the concept of strata and and geology while we're searching.
for today's adventure, then the first thing that we're gonna need to do. Let's just start with Marshall because that one's easy. Make me a crafting check.
Okie dokie. I'm only trained, so
20.
not 20.
I'm only trained 20.
He's only trained to roll 20s.
I was trained to roll 20s.
So with that, it does cost you some amount. It is 10% of the cost of a shifting rune, which if you want to take this core rulebook and find shifting rune, while I do everybody else's thing,
Yeah.
it's going to be vaguely in the back somewhere.
Okay.
It's going to cost you that plus the cost of a rune stone if you want to keep the
Well, I know
flaming.
the cost of a rune stone is like 3
It's 3 gold. Yeah, if you want to keep the flaming rune, which you want to spend 3 gold to keep the flaming rune, it's also going to be the cost of runes. We assume you would have picked up earlier, so we'll just factor that in here.
Yeah.
3 gold
I mean,
plus.
I already took it off.
Oh, you already did that. You're right. We already did that. So it's just 10% of whatever a shifting rune costs is what it would cost to apply it to the weapon.
To apply to the weapon? Okay.
So
I'll look that up while you guys do
If
that.
Yeah.
you apply something from a runestone, doesn't it not cost anything?
you
I thought it was just to transfer a rune cost 10%.
I think you actually, is the shooting aim is coming from runestone actually. No, you're actually good. You're cool. It is coming off runestone, right? Because it destroys the runestone
So I
instead.
just need to pay for the rune for
Yeah, so it's just a 3 gold for the runestone.
just
That is the point of a runestone. Never mind. I thought for some reason the shifting was coming from another
So
weapon.
yeah, I'm just
I thought it was coming from one of those 50 weapons, but
just-
right, you got that from the council
I'll
last
just
week.
go ahead and take
So
that
yeah,
3 gold off.
you're able to do that very easily. You may only be trained in crafting, but you were a dwarf who was raised to do smithing things. Unfortunately, this does not require a whole lot of banging and stuff. This is more of a kind of precise sort of
So
etching
you literally
and
see
oils
Marshall just
process.
put axe on table. Go. It's like a game of Operation.
It's like applying decals.
Never touch the side.
Like ton and everything. He's just like.
So,
he's-
Resme and Roshin, as you are working together to attempt to put these clues together, what are you rolling?
Perception?
Probably perception.
Who is aiding whomst?
I guess it doesn't matter really.
Well, were you taking the lead on the seismology investigation or the cups of water?
I think cups of water is a fairly non-specific idea that will not give us a whole lot of
So,
specific
Roshin, roll me an
information.
aid check.
Let's do it. That's a 22.
That'll succeed.
I help.
So, you
There
help.
was some merit to the
So,
water
Resme will
idea.
get a +1 to her perception check.
If I have a perception bonus that's specific to crafting, can I use that?
Is it?
Like to when I'm looking at something that has to do with craft. I guess that would just be a crafting bonus, so never mind.
Yeah,
Sorry.
that's a credit. Like, I don't.
So
That
perception
doesn't sound
time.
like a crafting bonus. Yeah, perception.
It's a 9.
9. So that will
10
be.
with the Roshin's +1.
So that will be a 29.
With a 29. For this, both of your investigations sort of end up a bit fruitless. The water cup idea doesn't really, it's a good idea, but doesn't really lead anywhere because there is a surprising, much like Resme said, a surprising amount of just ambient geological activity.
Huh. Hey,
Which
look
is
at that then.
causing, I already told you to film. And you got to be quicker on the draw.
If you got them, you got to use them.
Oh.
You got to pop them. While as Resme, your surveying is far from unsuccessful. But what you find is that sturdy enough to support some kind of machinery like that, sturdy enough to allow something like that to exist, is almost the entirety of the Earthfire District, and perhaps all of Kovlar. It may very well be the reason that the dwarves originally, thousands of years ago, settled in these caverns and founded Rock, and that most of the city's work and craft is confined up to this quadrant of this massive cave because it is so reinforced naturally, and that the stone is so resilient and very effectively weight-bearing that both weight-bearing and does a good job of muting and quieting any activities or further hammering or machinery that might be occurring in basements or lands below. So, unfortunately, you don't really make any progress at all. But you are kind of just looking off of some very basic clues and trying to put things together, and certainly illuminating possibilities is still very much narrowing things down of its own merit. So, Raz and Rashik, as you're just snooting all over the place with reckless abandon, doing rat stuff, and you're kind of following behind him.
He's getting a deluge of thoughts.
Being-
Like every single thought, everything.
My brain has turned off.
What are you two rolling? Also perception?
Yeah.
I was gonna roll society.
You can roll it separately.
So I'll roll perception.
So
you
give me
roll society.
society first here from the rat.
Whoosh.
That's
You
Ham.
know
good.
what?
It can only get better.
What do I know?
I don't know what I know. I want to roll better.
Fair enough. I will take a hero point from you, good sir.
I have them, and I want to roll more dice
Exactly.
for a 10.
That literally is the same thing.
So
You
for a
did not
32.
change at all. With a 32,
It's worth.
poking around just the roads of a district that is closed for the evening, does not really reveal much to you. There's basically no activity in the Earthfire District other than you and the kind of quizzical looks you're getting from the passing patrols of guards when you occasionally cross paths. As the Guild of Arms soldiers do still patrol through the city at night. And every now and then just kind of look at you like you're a weird little rat scuttling around at night, continue their business, and that's not quite that easy. No doors are labeled Droskar Cult Hideout.
I'm sure there is.
I don't know. He did the Scooby-Doo thing where he split up and he decided to go out on his own, so maybe there is.
Unfortunately, not tonight.
Well,
And
while watching him do his thing, see what I can see.
Oh,
I can see a 41.
41.
That's pretty good.
I had it in my head. I was going to re-roll everything but a 19 or a 20. And of course, I got a 19.
Pretty good. With a 41,
Hold on. Now let me.
you
I'm not that crazy.
you are the only one who really finds much of anything. But it's definitely something. Throughout the Earthfire District, you see a couple of times. Once, you think it's just an odd mark. Twice, you think maybe it's like a gang symbol or something. But 3, 4 times throughout the night, you don't know what it is, but you're starting to wonder if maybe there's something to it. On the cornerstones, right above the cornerstones of a couple of buildings, low in the stone or the brick, there is a small engraved inscription, a symbol. And it's a symbol that you don't immediately recognize. What is your religion proficiency, out of curiosity?
Not at all. But you know who is with me and does know things about religion?
Well, it probably wouldn't come together enough for you to think it's something that's worth asking about until like near the end of the night. But it's a mark. It looks enough like it's really just nothing for the Earthfire District. It's an arch. What appears to be a little arch of stones that are sectioned off, each one with a small either vein carved within it or possibly even a rune, but it looks like it might just be implied natural. And the center of the arch rests a single flame. It's a very simplified little graphic because it's chiseled fairly shallowly into these stones. But you get the sense that the way they're placed after seeing 4 throughout the night implies that they're not so much random, they're not so much tagging. They seem more like they're denoting something, a direction or a path, perhaps. If it's relevant, if it's connected to what you're after, you don't know what the symbol is.
Worth mentioning.
But yeah, it's worth bringing up when the 5 of you would then reconvene after a solid 12 hours of searching throughout the town and moving runes around, I imagine back at the Gold Sky Inn. It's certainly the only thing of note that anyone found this day.
And that's why igneous rocks should not be used as the basis of buildings.
oh God, Marshall, you've got to help me.
I have a wedge of
What do you
cheese.
mean? The rocks.
Ooh, interesting question, actually. If I thought about it, because I've seen them, can I telepathically share an image of it?
That's actually a
You
good
are
question.
telepathic with the Eye of the Wise, so I would say, yeah, you could send that image over to Rez
Okay.
before you came. I guess right before you came, all came back together. So what is your religion proficiency?
Trained.
Roll,
Also-
you let you roll it. Only roll me a thing.
I also have Bardic Lore.
Yeah, it's true. Bardic lore exists. Give me a guess. Probably Bardic lore is probably better, right?
Yeah.
It's just literally knowing a thing. So give me your Bardic lore
I
with
think,
this image that has appeared in your mind.
19 on the die.
for a 37.
Just roll a bunch.
Telepathically
Total?
sending you 19.
19.
19 plus 18.
Oh, fair enough. I thought your Bardic lore would be in like the 20s at this point, but I guess it's still
I
kind
have
of.
to get my occultism up one more for it to go up to expert.
I see. Fair enough. But still, with that, you would recognize that this is the holy symbol of Droskar.
Huh.
And the image that you get from him is it very shallowly carved in these bricks. It's not obvious. Like, even if you were looking for them, you wouldn't necessarily see them without having
see them because
individual
I see
ones. Yeah, you see them because Wizard Eyes McLizard Man sees them.
Perception.
But they're not obvious at all, and they're small. Even for a dwarf, they're far below where you're traditionally going to have your field of view. And most of them were stuck, not obviously none of them are like street-facing blocks. They're on the back on the sides of buildings or in the alleyways behind them. But it is the holy symbol of Droskar.
Alrighty then. Raz just has a wedge of cheese. The guard gave me some cheese.
That was nice of him, or presumptuous, depending on how you look at it.
It seems to be good cheese, though.
Cheese breaks off a bit.
Based on the sporadic thought process coming back from Reyes, I take it that you made sense of symbol.
Oh,
What
yeah,
symbol?
We found, he found the holy symbol of the one god, which the player completely forgot
Droskar
immediately.
god.
Oh,
Oh, Droseg.
Yeah.
Droskar.
Yeah.
No, you were almost there.
I was close.
But there are
I guess
a
it's
few
an
of them.
unholy symbol if they're evil.
There
like,
are a few symbols on the back of flagstones, around corners, down the alleys. Not exactly where you'd find them either. Down at like ankle level.
Almost like how thieves can denote hideouts in big cities.
Exactly.
oh, like a pathway to the hideout, so that only the thieves or the people who know the symbol will be able to find it. Oh, that's clever.
I only found a few of them, but after sharing image in Reyes' head, we at least know it is the right track.
I didn't find any of them. Breaks off a piece of cheese and
Maybe we can find some sort of pattern in them.
Perhaps. Maybe we could get a map of the district, and we could actually plot out where we find them. Maybe it'll give us a path we could follow.
I wonder if there's a way to figure out how old they are.
Possibly.
Marshall,
Not my
maybe.
specialty.
You're pretty good with carving and stones. Perhaps you might be able to figure it out.
I might be able to if I take a look at it.
We should each take one, you, me, and Trishik, and see if we can't figure out how recent the carvings are.
Okay. As before it leaves, Marshall just kind of does the like unhinging jaw thing and just takes the rest of the cheese out of Raz's hand and walks out.
there was nothing left.
I got the last chunk.
Well,
Oh.
this is probably more going to be a tomorrow thing unless you want to be fatigued, because this
That's our
investigation
next day
moving
plan.
this rune was
Next
would pretty much be an entire day, but it's certainly something that can be investigated in the morning, and
Actually,
probably something that
Rather than being the next day plan, we're gonna be awake at real people hours.
you're gonna be breaking real people hours. As you rest tonight, are you doing the thing?
Yeah.
Shall we?
Are you asleep? This is last Marshall on the cheek. Dreaming potential.
Just eat you in one bite. Just
Shoves right in mouth. Oh.
I'm not gonna cast it anymore if you do that.
cast it from the inside.
Helicopter
Your
tail.
dream,
Oh,
your dream tonight
Oh boy.
is a clear blue sky and an empty meadow, and there seems to be a forge sitting on top of a hill with no embers lit. And you're just continuously walking towards the forge and never making it.
Makes you
Are these supposed to be motivational or depressing?
both?
It makes him unreasonably angry that the forge is not lit.
Because
It fuels his
It's
rage.
supposed to
'Cause
mean
it's-
something.
it's-
It's supposed
it's-
to be symbolic of
it's-
him not being able to rage.
it's dwarven OCD.
That's what it's supposed to be.
Light.
But he's an idiot.
Forge.
Forge is not lit. Dwarf mad.
But as you awake the following wakey time, thank you,
time.
I'm taking that. It would, in fact, be the light of the dwarven day. You would rest. You would almost be going to sleep as Kovlar awakens, as the tone of the clock tower in the center of the town echoes out throughout the cave. The bell itself raised far above the rest of Kovlar's building, so its sound can reach the natural cavern walls around Kovlar to be audible throughout the city. That's time to go to bed. But the Forge Day is so long that as you awaken what is a wheel day on the world above, you will be going until you naturally feel the time to rest around the same time that Kovlar does. You have a functional, overlapping day today. Which means you have a lot of other options.
Oh, by the way, Lava Dragon's going to destroy the city in 19 Forge days.
What?
What?
It sounds about right.
Pulls out a book. All right, marked. The schedule.
And you just decided to mention this now?
No, I figured it'd be better to mention it now than in 19 Forge days.
She's got a point.
Hopefully we won't be here to be done with our business. And
Well, I got a few bars to hit then.
Don't worry. If
go
we are
call.
still here 19 Forge days later, I am leaving.
That's like
That's exactly what I said we should do, actually.
570 hours.
But
Yes.
but how do you know that?
He's a rat.
No, I'm talking to.
A very smart rat.
He can do math very quickly.
That wasn't what I was asking. I was asking how you know it's going to be 19
Didn't you
Forge
know that
days.
adventurers used to take rats into caves to keep track of time for them?
They're not canaries.
No, the rats pull out a little pocket
What does
watch and
canaries
tell
have to do
you.
with time?
They used to take them into caves to keep so that they'd know when the air was bad, so
What
that
does
they
that have
could
to do
leave.
with time?
That's not time.
Yeah, you take
Rats keep
canaries for
time.
bad air. You take rats so they can look at their pocket watch and tell you what time it is.
Exactly.
Rats don't have pocket watches.
This
Not
was
done.
A whole lot of pocket.
But you're Yusoki.
Yeah, I'm not a rat.
That's what I just said. Rats
I hand the
don't
pocket-
have pocket watches.
I've handed the pocket watch to Mataz.
Oh, see? Look at that. He has a
No,
pocket watch.
he is your pocket watch. You pull him out, he tells you the time.
He goes squeak squeak.
The time rat.
9 a.m. He just picked
He
up the
just tells
potatoes
you
and
a
holds it up to
time. You don't
you.
know if it's right. He just says a time.
But follow instructions.
Anyway. You were saying something.
Are there rails today?
I'm sorry.
No.
I
Are
don't,
there
have
rails ever?
any, I don't have any brain cells left. We're gonna try to. Okay. How did you get to? Did you just guess? Is that like a guess, or is that like a thing that you know?
You're questioning me about my omens and my prophecies now, are you?
Well, I'm just saying that's very specific. Usually, you say something like "Doom is approaching" and it is nigh.
Oh, yeah, you're all my friends. I didn't feel I had to pretty it up for you.
In all fairness,
As he takes a giant chomp of the breakfast ham.
The entire pig.
Yeah, pretty much.
just out of curiosity, that's the sleepy rock that you have. Did that do anything to you?
Do anything to me? Oh, no, it's a total. It's actually quite restful.
Yeah, I have one too.
Didn't last time you have one of those, visions, the sleepy rock was doing something weird, or the opposite?
Okay,
No,
so
no, it's slightly different actually how it works. It's not actually a vision with the sleepy rock. The sleepy rock. I'm using the vernacular. Sorry, but yes, essentially it's
Called a dreamstone.
called a dreamstone
You
technically.
know what I mean.
Yes. No. It's got nothing to do with that. Certainly visions of smoke and fire and flame. Didn't I talk about this already? I get the feeling I actually gave the flowery pronouncement of doom upon the city. Didn't I
Yes.
do that?
Yes, but at that point, you did not
I told
actually.
the council, in fact.
But you didn't look at a clock and go, "It's going to be 18 hours, 3 minutes, and 45 seconds until this building falls down." That
There's
was
no-
very specific.
There's no gravitas in a prophecy if you actually are that specific about it.
I mean, she's got the point. I mean, when were your dreams that specific? Ever?
It
Marshall-
appears that it was that specific last night.
Exactly that specific, yes.
Can you
To be perfectly fair, it's really more of an estimate. And honestly, I wouldn't want to be in town at 18 Forge days either.
Okay, so it is an estimate. So you just picked a number out of the air.
It's not a number out of the air. It's a rough estimate of when the city will be burned to a crisp and
you
scattered
burn
into ash.
stone?
Interestingly enough, yes, you can. I've seen it done.
And Marshall, can you keep your grease splatters over there? I have delicate paper over here.
I take the
Sloppy
rest.
eater.
So
I take the rest of the plate and just dunk it.
you think
I'm
it's
strong and Matt.
a warning from Milani?
Huh?
You think it's a warning from Milani?
It'll
Honestly-
taste better.
Honestly, I'm not entirely sure that Melanie particularly cares about it. Or perhaps if she does, she hasn't thought to actually perhaps warn me about it. But no, I feel that this is this would be a vision from my mother, I'm afraid.
Oh,
Oh Lord.
As long as it's useful information, the source is not exactly relevant.
but how does she know it's?
She's been the one trying to keep the Doom from attacking Kovlar while we're in it.
Do we know what the doom actually is, or is it just a non-specific doom?
Have I not mentioned this before? I feel like I've mentioned this before.
Did you say something about a dragon?
I believe I did.
You did, but I just
That's
wanted to
one.
make sure we're talking about that doom specifically. There's been a lot of doom lately, and I like specifics.
Well, yes, that's the prophesized Doom.
I mean, I'm wearing trophies from the past dooms for crying out loud.
so
You are most certainly not, I'll have you know. They are very impressive, though.
Points to the gug shawl.
So,
None of my prophecies, at least.
is it the same dragon we're feeding people to?
Prophecies about a gug. Goodness sake. We're not feeding anyone to anything.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, like, you know, the royal we.
I did not know that I was a dragon.
I'm just saying, so it's the same dragon.
Are we
Like,
feeding people to you?
the
This
one.
joke is humor.
Ah, yes, sorry.
So the cult is feeding people to Strymalura, and your mother is doing what with Strymalura?
It's not the impression I understand, actually. My understanding is that Strymalura only really cares about burning Kovlar down. I don't think Strymalura particularly cares much
So-
about what the Triad's up to.
Can we continue this conversation on the road while we do stuff?
If you want to talk about the doom and destruction of the city while
Or
we
we
walk
can not
through
talk
it,
about it.
I'm just
then
gonna.
that's not really considering the conversation, is it?
All right.
What?
Oh, you got me there.
Piece of paper writes the
hold-
conversation, fold it up, and just like
Hold on. I
find somewhere and
have
shove it on your body.
Right there. That's
I have a
yeah,
solution.
you feel better about it now.
Yes.
Oh, very good.
Here you go.
Oh, what you handed me? It's not
a
more
little-
cash, is
it's
it?
a little gem.
Oh,
And
yeah.
now you can hear every single thought coming out of.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Rat,
As
you
that-
know what? Now that I think about it, it's probably not a good idea for you to keep that.
I'll take the little gem back.
On that note, I look at the innkeep and go,
Innkeep, I'm gonna need
How did you sleep?
6. No, make that 7 to go breakfast brews and whatever they want on the way out.
I just grab them and walk out the door and start chugging them one at a time.
As you do, ready to head back out into the light of Kovlar, with the anvils ringing, what is today's plan? You actually have options now because the city is not sleeping.
Okay, so did we narrow down that location by chance or not really?
Not really.
I want to talk to the priest now that he might be awake and more recovered to see if we can't get more details about where he was taken.
Oh, we also have to track. We have to track these items on that
Yeah.
greasy map you're drawn.
I started drawing a new one.
So you all go do that, and
Lie to people? Sure. I can do that.
I will talk to the very sleepy priest if you would like to come with me.
What am I doing? Yeah, sure. Sounds good.
All right, so Resme and Raz are going to go catch up with Talos, and you three are going to go pose as merchants.
Oh yeah, we got to do that too.
I thought that was what you meant with the items.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did you mean?
I
That
meant
was-
like actually getting a map and tracking where the things were and trying to.
Oh, you want to continue tracking the hideout?
We can
Oh.
do that again
We
at
can
night.
do
The items are the symbols. Oh, I thought you meant the items were like the.
Yeah, I had no idea what you were talking about.
We were completely different
I know
wavelengths
what you
there.
meant.
Oh gosh, we have the kidnapped girl too.
Oh crap! The missing girl.
Well,
She's only a carpenter.
no.
How
She's a
about?
third of their workforce.
That's a third of their workforce. Yeah.
Yeah, that's.
And she's
fair.
Well-
like employee of the month.
Also, if we find out from his visions where they're taking people, we might be able to find where they took her.
I mean, that's.
So really what I'm doing is tracking the carpenter. I'm just getting better information before we do it.
Pose as merchants then.
So, is there any harm in one of us investigating the missing girl and the other two doing the merchant stuff?
Ah, you can do it.
Yeah. That-
That's
You can
what we're
split this up. You
doing.
can divide this load however you want to.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm all for doing the merchant thing, and I suppose we can just put off the missing girl. Not a big deal.
We're doing the missing girl.
They're talking to Talos. That'll give
They're
us some
talking to
information,
Talos.
hopefully. All right, so we got a lot on our plate here. A whole lot of various mixed investigations, and we're going to be pursuing pretty much every lead we have as we split up throughout Kovlar to try and narrow down the focus of these problems. But that is going to wait until we return from our break. So, everyone, thank you all, of course, for being here. Paizo for sponsoring this show, and our
Thank you,
partners at
Paizo.
Thanks,
Sirenscape for the great sound sets and the fact that we get to listen to anvils constantly, which is, I say that sarcastically, but I actually really do like it. I put them on there for a reason. I wouldn't have put them there if I didn't want them.
That's how you go to sleep.
You
at
get the
night.
Dwarven City
I miss the
experience.
horse and carts. The very
They're still
loud
there
horse.
sometimes.
I
They're
miss
still
the very loud horse.
the one that was like way too loud because
Yeah.
I had it balanced wrong. Yeah, I screwed that up.
Can-
The
can-
very loud horse is gone, but passing carts are still in the sound set
Can
sometimes.
we call our new like studio the Pie Zone?
Pie zone.
No, because then it
sounds like a bakery.
pies.
It does.
be
Yeah,
the
it sounds like an
cow zone.
Italian folded up pizza kind of.
And now you're making me hungry. Stop.
Yeah, please.
Ooh.
stop.
Well, good news, it's break time, so we can go get snacks.
Yeah.
Everybody,
Sucks.
over there.
Kershaw.
Thank you for hanging out.
Kershaw.
Thank you for being here. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Feel free to top off your drinks, use the bathroom, stretch your legs.
Nope,
Don't
none
go
of
too
you are
far.
allowed to go anywhere. You got to stay here and wait for
When
us.
we come
Kiss
back,
yourself.
they're not the kidnapped carpenter. They can do what they want. When we come back,
True.
hopefully we make some more headway through the city. We're narrowing things down.
Yeah.
We're getting close. BRB. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you enjoyed a brief interlude of random highlights from our adventures so far, as there have been a bunch of them. And I feel I must apologize for not having uploaded a bunch recently, because we have had a whole lot of ridiculous shenanigans. But with the process of trying to get everything here to this level of functional and having our decorations and everything back, so we're not like in the sad beige void, that has unfortunately taken the priority. So I haven't had a lot of opportunity to hit a bunch of updated highlights recently, which makes me sad because we've done some really dumb stuff that should have been immortalized. It is immortalized via the videos existing and may eventually be immortalized via highlights, but I haven't kept up on that super well. But there still are like 60-ish over on youtube.com/2perception, as well as the entire rest of this adventure we've had up to this point. While this is only the 13th episode of chapter 4,
Please get us out of level 12.
and I appreciate Age of Ashes for having, I think, more than a lot of other campaigns, very distinct
Level 12.
chapters. It's not. It's almost like each chapter is a completely separate adventure, and they're all like there's a common thread running through all of them. You're still like learning about the Scarlet Triad and unlocking new portals and Alcetta's Ring, and there's the commonality. But each one you literally get transported to a different place to have a different adventure. It's almost like a launching off point. Like you could start watching this show at episode 1 of this chapter and still pretty much understand the meat of what's going on because it's Kovlar's investigations, which has all been within the last 13 episodes.
Yeah,
All of which have been level 12 because you're level 12 forever. You're never leaving.
that's just the game now.
Stop.
Pathfinder level 12 edition.
That's it.
So, as we had left off, we were just heading out for the day to head up some various investigations to keep looking into some of these problems. And Trishik, I knew you were going to swap what you were going to do, and I forgot what it was. Roshin and Marshall were going to
with
Poise's Merchants.
Yeah, we're doing.
You are going with them?
Yeah, I was curious if we were leaving that completely alone because I thought that they were going to invest.
Oh, they're going to go talk to Talos and
Yeah.
try to find the girl. Yeah,
So, they're going to do that. I'm going to go with them. As no one was doing the missing girl, I was just going to go do
so
it
everyone's
myself.
abandoning the missing member of the Carpenters Guild that we just cannot stop dunking on.
Dude, it's
She's
too
a
much
very
fun.
important member.
See, every time you remind me that she's from the Carpenters Guild, it makes me want to rescue her less and less.
Maybe
I want to rescue her like she's an endangered species.
That's wrong.
That's a
We
good
have to rescue the
point.
carpenter. They've only got 3.
Have you heard the legend of the wood dwarfs?
The wood dwarf.
The wood dwarfs. They're like gnomes, but bigger.
I was gonna say, aren't they just gnomes?
Look at the wood dwarf.
Gnomes live
Do you
underground.
see how it cuts into that soft material? It is almost like stone, except there are rings inside of it.
Not at all.
And it's got these green
Petrified
leafy
wood
things.
exists.
Petrified wood is not
Huh.
stone.
You know,
It's
wood dwarves are
petrified
basically
wood.
beavers.
No!
How?
Let's think about it. They're short and they're hairy, and they
big front teeth.
they make yeah, big front teeth, and they basically use wood to craft massive artifice.
So is beaver secretly like a new archetype for dwarf heritage in that case?
No, I think legit like beavers should just be like dwarves. Like they have the
Beavers are
dwarf
now-
trait and everything.
Yeah. Yep.
Beaver folk.
I mean, we have Yosoki.
It's just like a really big beard. It's-
No, it's like Yosoki and rats. Dwarves evolved from beavers,
okay.
so you can be mistaken sometimes.
And they graduated to stone when
I
they
just thought dwarves evolved from moles.
I mean,
And beaver's
Not-
an offset of mole.
Man, this conversation is literally making me stupider.
What does that? What does that make the platypus?
I can feel my IQ declining the longer we
An
talk about
aberration.
this.
Mental damage when you look at them.
So, the,
Their eggs are considered cursed objects.
As cursed as this
They're in
conversation.
Ray, grant me strength.
Caleb, you doing fine? We're okay?
So, the three of you are going to head out. Probably stop by the Anvilers Guild real quick to speak with Forge Master Thunderflare once more. You need some contacts set up for you to figure out exactly what it is that you're doing. And then you're going to go out and pose once again as traveling merchants, seeking high quality goods from the Anvilers Guild itself. I'm going to imagine that on this deception check, you two are going to try to aid Trishik.
That sounds like an excellent idea.
All right.
Sneaky.
So let's get the two aid rolls. Marshall. The rat has fallen.
Jeez.
I got a 17.
I get a 22.
Or, sorry, I rolled a 17. What am I adding? Deception?
Deception.
Which I have a +2 in, so 19.
Okay, well,
You don't.
Marshall is giving you the the dwarven touch.
He's standing there
Resume.
looking pretty.
Little shiver up my back.
That is not Resme. She smells bad.
Roisin is actually fairly well helpful here. And with a +1 to your check, Trishik, he's even forgone the shawl. He's going to keep undercover. Maximum disguise.
Well, I believe that the cloak of the Montebank, or the cape of the Montebank, gives me a +2. It does.
It does actually have passive
So-
benefits. +2 item bonus, +1 circumstance from the aid. You have a fantastic disguise there. You don't even look like Trishik. You just look like a
Exactly.
guy.
It's kind of hot. so
It's
I had-
very hot in Florida today, and the current AC situation in the studio is not fantastic. So if you
So-
bits of costume are slowly disappearing.
Yeah.
It happened. It's gonna happen. We gotta fix that.
All right, there you go.
Well,
That's a respectful.
that's a 39 because I have a +27.
wow.
Explain how.
So it's base 24 because I'm a master,
Oh, you're master deception.
Yep.
Okay, fair enough. That makes sense, I suppose.
He's
and then I have a +1, and then a
What is your charisma?
18.
It is actually 18. Holy crap!
a sexy
Sexy lizard.
You are a ridiculously sexy lizard.
I just do the little head bob and panties drop.
The throat thing.
You don't even have to do the throat thing. That's what high charisma's for.
Whoa.
Family friendly. So, if I say that, it means we're okay. So
If I get thrown out of the room, we're not okay.
you've spent a couple of days, Roshin, working on a particular project here, putting your arcane mark upon literally every weapon that was being processed through the Anvilers Guild. Every weapon and piece of armor. It's been quite an intensive task, really. That has taken a lot of working. It's not like they are fountaining out equipment, but an entire guild, as the largest guild in Kovlar, is producing a fair few dozen pieces a day. But you kept up with it. And that's starting to bear some fruits here. As you're shopping around, of course, part of your facade here requires that you actually purchase some weapons. You're spending a fair bit of coin, which Forge Master Thunderflare is reimbursing to you.
Well, I think we actually are buying stuff because we have
Are
to
you?
outfit it. Well, we have to outfit a garrison for the Citadel.
Well, you're probably down like throughout 2 days of doing this, you're probably down like 40 gold, I'd imagine,
Okay.
and just buying high quality but non-magical weapons and arms. You have your own contacts that you're working with through the Anvilers Guild, meetings that have been set up with you by Thunderflare, but you are occasionally also ending up courting other merchants, other folk that are working within the town, just to keep up your guises. Someone who's looking for quality weaponry or just turns away every merchant that's not on their short list they for some reason would be a little weirdly suspicious. And you two would definitely be aware of this. Marshall is probably just deferring to your deceptive expertise.
I'm just kind of going a little bit of his roll, like
He tests the weapons. He tests them very good.
He's very good. He's practiced at it.
If the weapon survives him swinging it, it's of good quality.
That is
One-
a legitimate
You know?
method.
You know,
In all fairness,
that's fair.
one merchant you would meet with would have a mixed set of weapons. Some of them are the Anvilers Guild's work. Some of them are work from out of Kovlar. They're imports of more exotic weapons, more curved scimitars inscribed with some simple swirling iconography of Saren Ray among the blade or the handle. Some sturdy long swords from further to the north that perhaps once were wielded in the final defense of Last Wall. Antiques and artifacts alongside simple high-quality weapons from Kovlar itself. They're a trader of all kinds. But some of the weapons, a few swords and a mace that they present to you, which look of standard dwarven make, they say are from the Anvilers Guild. At this point, basically everything that you pass from the Anvilers Guild has your sigil on it. It's been a few forge days of you doing that. There's maybe one occasionally that isn't, but never a full set of 3 weapons that all bear the same maker's mark that do not have your arcane sigil. Further investigation, as you, Trishik, pick up on this, the man seems to be more than happy, as everyone in Kovlar takes great pride in their work, seems to be more than happy to direct you to the various smiths in question for commission work or for to follow up or see what else they may have. So it's no difficulty to get directed to the shop of the creator of these weapons here. It is a man named Forge Master, or not Forge Master, to a lower rank of Forge Master be. It hasn't presented me with an entire list of Anvilers Guild rank. Smith, I guess.
Forge guy.
Forge man.
Forge man.
I like Smith. Probably just Anviler. It's the Anvilers Guild.
Yeah.
Weaponsmith?
Full Anviler.
Anviler.
Yeah, Anviler.
Anviler or Weaponsmith. We'll go. I like Weaponsmith. Anviler feels weird in my mouth.
All right.
Weaponsmith Markov. And with your investigations, again, you have directions to a shop.
We're gonna mosey on over there.
Yes, indeed we are.
Of course, telepathically letting Resman know that we have potentially found a culprit.
Poor man.
Marshall, do you want to give me a crafting check?
Aye.
You know what?
The hero
I'm such
points.
a terrible influence.
I mean, I think it's probably worth it, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a 4.
Oh, that's
It
insane.
also feed well this
Yeah.
Much better.
Improvement.
Value.
That will be a 31.
With a 31, notably, each of these 3 weapons bears the same sort of hidden, fundamental kind of flaws of the defective equipment that's been coming to the Anvilers Guild.
I just kind of nudge her. Point out some of the
It's nothing
flaws.
obvious, and it's
What's you pointing at?
I pointed at some of the flaws that I found earlier.
What?
it's more just like, while the outside of the blade and everything looks to be fine, everything seems to be intact on one of the swords, for instance. You can see near the base of the blade itself, it's welded and attached to the handle perfectly fine, but there is a mark above it that's kind of subtle and also just looks to be a coloration of the metal, but looks like it is actually just a hidden sort of cold shut within the blade, where the surface of the metal has been hammered over it and sharpened and polished well enough to hide it well. But if you know what you're looking for, you know what you're looking at, which Marshall does, there's a void inside that sword.
I think it's Roshin's turn, just kind of drool and not really understand what's happening, but she'll just take your word for it.
So, bobbity boobity. No.
Yeah.
That's giant. That's not Oracle. And this is a
don't
hero
know that.
point from Dar Masson in the chat. Keep it going, Ragey Dwarf.
Yeah.
You can't have 0. That's illegal.
you.
Take this
If you
back.
use them, you get them.
That is true.
No, it works. You can't get them if you don't use them. I haven't had an opportunity. I haven't rolled anything in a
I
minute.
can't get them at all.
So, Dwarf is trying. Marshall is trying to explain this to Resbe. So basically,
You see right there? Right there.
Yeah, I see what you're pointing at.
Because of the way it looks like it's welded, or it's just that fake layer, it's that little imperfection. I think this was done on purpose for whatever reason, and then he just goes on and on and on and on.
Trishtik's deception check would have told you should probably buy this weapon and talk about it elsewhere, so I'm going to assume you're doing that.
Yeah.
Not talking about it right here.
Nah, all three of them would have been bought. He would have been inspecting them back, like, in a shed back at the Forge Guild or something, the Anvilage Guild.
You probably look at it as we're walking through the streets.
Yeah,
Honestly, it's
just
a dwarf
anywhere
city.
that's
Probably
not-
happens
I
a
mean,
lot.
it's not totally common for a big dwarf to walk around an entire city of dwarves carrying weapons and just going.
It's not.
I mean, you're like a kid, like playing with his new toy. That's all you are.
Probably
mean,
there's
I'm
a lot of
technically a
weapons going
teenager.
back and forth down here. Everyone would be armed all the time in case a purple worm showed up.
He's got
Probably doesn't happen in the town terribly
Yeah, but
often.
if it's nearby and you
That's
have to
fair.
defend yourself.
Yeah, sometimes it happens on the road sometimes. It's a bad day if you're a traveling merchant.
Yeah.
The old purple worm shows up.
Plus, like, our disguise is to look like shady people. So
I feel like
Also-
they are one of the highest level common problems in Galarian is a purple worm.
Highest
I
level
figured it out,
nuisance.
by the way. I'm wearing the unmemorable mantle, which gives you the same bonus as the cloak of the Mountebank. But
Fair enough.
I don't look like Trushik.
You just look like a dude.
Yeah.
You don't even look like a lizard, right?
I just look like a Slenderman.
A non.
That's better.
Nondescript human.
It's like there's purse hooks in our bathrooms. There's like sword hooks in like dwarven bathrooms so that you can
Exactly.
hang up your sword or your weapon when you're going
I mean,
to the
that is
bathroom.
probably accurate, realistically. It's probably weapon. Like, realistically, inside
It's a
most
weapon
taverns,
rack,
there
yeah.
would be a weapon rack inside the door. Like, there'd be a hat rack and a hat and cloak and a weapon rack. So you could hold your stuff.
That's dwarvish tradition, don't you know?
That's probably even on the surface, I imagine. Because, again, yeah, people traveling with their weapons is very common. Like, it's almost weird not to, especially if you're going outside of a city. It's dumb not to.
Yeah.
Glorian
Yeah.
sucks.
Galarian sucks. I don't know how anybody's alive, but
Yeah.
that's the same can be said of
Heroes.
most high fantasy worlds.
Heroes.
I mean, it's like Australia. How does anyone in
It's
Australia?
like super Australia. It's like Australia. The spiders could spit fireballs and were 9 feet long.
You
Walking
don't
out your
know
front
that you
door.
live on a death world until you get off of it.
That's true.
There.
Imagine walking out your front door and a giant purple worm just goes, it's lunchtime.
So
How you doing?
you do your best to explain to Roisin what's
Yeah.
wrong, and then she can kind of see what you're talking about, but doesn't really have the expertise to.
I just take your
Understand
word
it.
for it.
I just kind of gruff and go, hold on, allow me to explain. Walk over to hard surface with said weapon. Bah!
If you hold it flat side and just slap it on the edge of like a wagon wheel or something, you will physically hear a crack.
Oh my goodness, I see what you mean now.
At that point, it would be open on the edge of the blade. The blade would visibly be a couple degrees bent from the handle.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
And you sword could do that just by looking at the handle there.
I mean, I'm not the best craftsman in my family, but I notice a thing or two from time to time.
Oh, that's so. Yeah, I don't believe you found that. Look at that thing.
Yeah.
Goodness
So,
gracious. Roshi's gonna start looking at her own sword, just kind of.
does this one have your mark on it?
No, it doesn't. None of the three did. These are all imposter weapons.
Interesting.
Let us go pay a little visit to. What was the name of the person who forged?
Weaponsmith Markov.
Markov. That's a name you can trust.
Let us go pay a little
High
visit to
truthiness
a
rating on that
Markov.
name.
Perhaps it's someone I know based on name.
It gives you some Trishik vibes.
It's actually in a Ruxy. No.
He's in a Ruxy.
The weapon was forged.
Embrace each other, brother.
Yes, I am dwarf craftsman. How can I help you?
He also has an unmemorable mental. But,
Fake
you
beard.
had a disguise. You head down to this shop on the southern
I
end of
am
the
not the mark of your looks.
southern end of the Earthfire district. And you can give us the dungeon playlist here for a moment. And also, we're gonna try things. We've done this before. This dude's picture should be in the thing that you can pop up on the screen. It'll be in the El Kovlar folder. He's not a single click. It's the top dude there.
Why are
And
you
you-
pointing at someone who doesn't exist?
Right click. View character artwork.
Just so y'all
Character,
know,
not token.
Hey.
just so y'all know, the new studio is haunted, and we are talking to
Like I'm
ghosts.
talking to the studio ghost because we have this is the first time it's come up, and then you can
I thought it.
show that, and then you can hit that top right button.
Wow.
It's very trustworthy.
That
They
man.
should put it on this. Ah, look at that! Look at that!
Yeah.
Functionality.
Look at that
Not
man.
a Draugr at all.
It's a relatively small shop, and a knock on the door after a moment, would have it answered by a man who's a bit stout, even for a dwarf. He's seen his fair share of years. He's clearly quite elderly. All of his hair, top of his head to his beard, eyebrows and all, a stark, dull kind of gray. Home in his own shop here, it's all left loose and relatively long. It'd be enough for some simple braids, perhaps, but he doesn't look like when he's just working at home he bothers. His face is almost gnarled, showing a layered myriad scars just from the age of his life and minor burns and injuries from similarly a lifetime of forging that would be all too common with dwarven kingdoms. While he's dressed very plainly, simple blue collared shirt over some slacks with a black furred vest pulled over it. He would open, see the group of you. I, Weaponsmith Markov, at your service. Is there something I can do for you?
I'll let you take lead.
Okay. So, may we?
I motion to step in.
And he would step back over there. Of course. As you step inside, his workshop and his home, seemingly one and the same. Again, not a terribly large place. It doesn't look like he's done spectacularly well for himself. He's on the very edge of the Earthfire District, but you walk into what is almost a small showroom, more than a standard entryway living room, almost like a forefront. There's no counter or anything set up, but there are displays and racks of weapons and armor set around the room. Dwarven full plate and scale mail set up on armor stands, much like that one behind you right there, gathered in the corner. And both racks of maces and polearms standing upright on the ground, as well as swords hanging from their hilts and crossguards mounted onto the wall. What looks to be a fairly wide wealth of work that he has on display. All of it looks somewhat similar. Of course, each smith kind of has their token style, and his does appear to be quite plain, as many of the Anvilers Guild do tend to. They all look well enough. None of them look like incredible masterpieces or, again, have really any pomp or flavor to them, but they look serviceable and functional. But as he welcomes all of you in, there's no seating or anything in this main entryway, and you can see there are a pair of doors leading off deeper into the workshop. But he reaches into his pocket, kind of wipes his hand with a little rag before stashing it again, turning back around. You're more than welcome to look throughout my works here. Weapons, arms, and armor all. Most I have on display at the moment fit for dwarven kind, but I'm certainly capable of working a commission for someone larger, or even with your frame. Because even as a person, you would be... Like, it's unremarkable, you kind of slender, Manny.
Getting up, probably... How tall is an average dwarf?
An average dwarf is
probably
like
5'4".
5'4".
5'2", 5'4". Like, they're still medium. They're not tiny.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
like a tall dwarf's like 5'8".
I'm 5'6".
I think Galarian dwarves, are a good deal taller than your most fantasy dwarves,
I was
which are
thinking
like
they were, like-
waist-high little gremlins.
I was thinking like mid-4, high 4 foot.
Yeah, Galarian dwarves are like here on most people, probably.
Okay. I'm almost twice his height then.
I can look it up in the core rulebook, but I don't care that much. You would loom over this man. But he would introduce that, then just kind of look across the party.
And I'll nod towards you while we're talking here.
So I'm going to handle one of the weapons that we didn't just break in examination. We were checking about the town, procuring some arms for an adventure of ours, and we came across these from a merchant up in the foreign quarter. Would this be your work?
Well, it certainly bears my mark. I'd say it looks like it. No reason to believe it isn't, but your words concern me. He'd hand it back to you.
And I'm watching him like a hawk.
All of
Right.
us are.
Everyone's just staring at this man. He looks a little confused, concerned, kind of.
Well, I believe we have good news and bad news for you. The good news is you sold 3 weapons. Bad news is you have sold them to the wrong people. These are fakes, and we can prove it.
I'm afraid I don't understand.
Well, certainly. Perhaps if you'd look at this one, and we'll take the one that Marshall broke over a wagon wheel.
He takes a look at the thing.
Would that be a sign of your handiwork then?
I'd be happy to give another demonstration.
Oh no. No, this certainly shouldn't be happening. I suppose if a lifetime of swinging it flat ways by a lad as large as yourself, it's possible, but it shouldn't break like that. If anything, it would snap clean. This looks like it wouldn't take that much force at all.
Is this guy genuinely surprised, or is he full of it?
Maybe a perception check.
Let's do it.
Yeah, me too.
Go for
Be my threes. Hero point.
Hero point.
You're scrutinizing.
Oh, Derp's awesome. Hero points! What are you doing? We talked about this.
I saw it. That was the
We
13.
talked about this. What do you...
Yours is better.
All right, so I got a 35.
Just throw hero points down the table at me.
All right. Well, despite Penguin Witch Doctor's best efforts, I got a natural 1.
So, I mean, he does seem as concerned with this as you do. With the 35, you can't immediately tell, really. He does seem to obviously have taken pause with this, but you can't tell if it's because he's legitimately concerned about it or if it's because he's got. What about you, Marshall?
For my perception,
Yeah.
it was a 25. So
Yeah, I mean, he does also look, he looks very much concerned about this to you as well. But he hands this sword back over to you. You said you had more weapons than just that.
Well, indeed, the one you just looked at and claimed ownership of.
There's something wrong with it as well. I gave it a quick look over, but nothing more than surface level. Seemed sharp, a fair blade. I see it again, perhaps.
Of course.
I hand it back to him. He looks at it. Something's... You're right. He turns it over and holds it, like, blade down by the crossguard, and is looking up at the pommel of the thing. This pommel's supposed to be attached to the tang proper, but I don't think the tang of this blade extends all the way down through the handle. Something's amiss here. Bears my seal. Well, I'll tell you one thing. And he just kind of gestures at the room. I'm an old dwarf. And I've forged a great number of blades, swords, maces, weapons of all kind, and armor to match throughout my career. I couldn't proper tell you with a simple look if a blade's mine or a smith of similar make and work. That's why we have the seals and the maker's marks in the first place. But
In the middle of him talking, I need him to make a will save, as I've been fiddling with my mantle, and he might be saying something different.
what does that do?
If he fails the save, then I get to adjust his memory slightly. If he critically fails the save, I can make him think whatever I want.
How does that help you?
I can make him think that he confessed to making forgeries and that he's given up the act.
That's big brain.
Wow.
wow.
Oh,
Took an item that wasn't supposed to be used that way, and you're using it that way.
that is a brain.
That's like your partner has already confessed, except you've already confessed. My God, I have.
Now, if he fails, then all I get to do is choose if he remembers what, like, our interaction. Basically, I can erase 5 minutes of conversation.
total awesome too.
As this
If he critically fails, I get to choose whatever I want.
As this magic from your mantle starts to seep out, he gets a little bit of a twitch above his eye. You don't know if he's consciously noticing it, but it's
If he critically succeeds, he knows what I was trying to do.
trying to work magic like this on someone's mind, an enchantment like this. It's something the body kind of reactively resists, even if he doesn't consciously know about it. Or this magic would be unstoppable. Link 1429. They give me
Can
this
you
hero
save
point.
this man from a very interesting fate?
He's gonna get a 34.
So he succeeds, and as far as I'm aware, nothing
I
happens.
think that's probably a nothing sandwich.
Yeah, nothing happens. He doesn't know I did anything. He remembers everything just fine.
You feel that come out, and as he hands his blade back to Roshin, something's clearly amiss. A flaw such as that in a single weapon's not unheard of. Even a smith as tenured as I makes mistakes now and again. But 3 swords. He looks like he's kind of racking his brain. You can see the neurons firing at 1,000 miles an hour.
Tell me, Weapon Master. I don't see anyone else here. Do you work alone, or do you have apprentices?
I haven't never taken an apprentice myself. But my goods only pass from my hands to the distributors within the Anvilers Guild itself before heading to the merchants. There's no one else that has contact with him outside of that.
And you take him to the Anvilers Guild yourself, do you?
Aye, that I do. I've not the coin to afford.
Can I check that? Because I know for a fact these weren't in the Anvilers Guild because they didn't have my mark on them.
But you don't need to check that. You know they were in the Anvilers Guild. That's 100% thing that you know.
Okay.
Hey, he just told you he took them to the Anvilers Guild himself.
Okay, so we know that this
You
is
don't need to roll
flatline.
with your arcade. You know that's not true. It can't be true.
Very well.
Unless they were intercepted to wherever you left them and taken out before you marked them.
Would you allow us to look around and make sure that there's no one who has been potentially stealing things, any signs of infiltration? We would like to clear you. You seem like a upstanding gentleman.
Of course. Please, I hate to think that something may be amiss within the Anvilers Guild itself.
Of course.
Someone working to undermine them, or perhaps me. I live alone. My
So-
life's my work. I can't imagine anyone I've made an enemy of. Not to this extent.
I'm going to offer my hand to shake it. It is a pleasure to meet you, by the way.
Oh, reach it out.
Is he cold?
Not cold, no.
Okay, because Draugr are cold.
Yeah, he does not feel cold. He's not he does not seem to be a dwerger unless he has some way to keep himself warm.
It's curious because
He's got hand warmers. He doesn't have gloves on or anything. He's in his own workshop.
In
and
his pockets. He's had his hands in his pockets the entire time.
his hands have been out in front of him, like handling your swords and stuff. They just kind of clasp him in front of his chest, with hands in there. But no, it's not cold.
okay, so yeah, well, I'll look around, see if there has indeed been somebody getting in and stealing his stuff.
And make me. So as he's looking at, what are you two doing?
Well, honestly, while he's looking around, I'm just standing by the door, keeping a very close eye on our friend here, and just kind of have my hammer at the ready in case he tries anything.
While Trusik is doing that, well, certainly on close examination, the marks appear to be fit. But do you have your actual? Do you have the actual stamp seal that you use to make these? Perhaps we can investigate to make sure this to see if perhaps it's a clever forgery.
I have one. It's not the only one that exists. Of course, this is counterfeiting such as this has never been a problem the Anvilers Guild has faced. Most smiths have several of these stamps, just for ease of access.
But you wouldn't keep them anywhere aside from your workshop, would you?
I do here. I believe the Forge Master has a copy of near everyone's of the Anvilers Guild. But, I mean, other than worn ones I've replaced throughout the years, I suppose they could be remade and it would be far from impossible to copy. But
Let's examine them then.
of course. Yeah, my workshop's through this door. And he opens one of the doors that leads off to what is a room with a massive, less a window so much as just a humongous hole that's 70% of the area of the wall, where he's got a relatively small little forge that looks like it's actually run off of a foot pump that pushes the bellows rather than anything he does. It's a far cry from some of the spectacular things you've seen throughout Kovlar and certainly in the Anvilers Guild. He has a small little anvil, not much bigger than this book, and it's clear that what he uses in his operations here is just what he has within his means, which don't seem to be great. But near the anvil, on a workbench against the wall behind it, is an assortment of chisels and levers and files, as well as a pair of small metal stamps, the backside of which show the clear wear of 1,000 hammer blows, and the front, the insignia that you have found on these weapons so far. And he gestures to him, please.
Does it fit?
It does fit.
Okay. And like no rattle, no loose. It's like
It's not like it's a deep thing. Like it's just almost a score on the outside of it, but it does like slide into it perfectly. It does seem to match up exactly.
hand it back.
You see anything strange about it? Something amiss?
I'll look around.
It
And
fits
you
perfectly.
give me as you're looking through his shop. Give me a crafting.
Okay.
I know it's not what you wanted, but
No,
Honestly,
yeah.
that's still fantastic.
the alchemical crafting is also regular crafting.
Yep.
Crafting, it's just crafting now.
That's a 36.
With a 36, Marshall kind of showed you the flaw in this one blade, and you've seen a couple of these now. You're not a forge master. You don't know how to smith weapons well. But you're kind of slowly learning what little things to look for, what little tells there may be. Almost everything you check in this shop bears the same discrepancies, the same issues. And it's not like they're intentionally put there, but it was made, they seem to have been crafted by a smith who isn't good enough to really make a high quality weapon, but is good enough to cover that up to the average person that doesn't know what they're looking for. They're very intentionally hidden and obscured, but they're just flaws from a lack of craftsmanship.
I believe that this man has been an unfortunate side effect of the flaws. I do not believe he is the culprit that we are looking for, but I do believe we should go and report this. Come now.
Probably wise. Thank you for your time. It seems that there's something amiss going on here. I imagine we might be coming back to look into it and trying to find out. After all, our employers would very much like quality weapons, and that's why we come to Kovlar.
Please. And if there's absolutely anything amiss there, or anything you can find about the source of these weapons, bring it back to me. I want this fixed.
Of course, Weapon Master. We'll be sure to let you know.
I've dedicated my life to this craft. I can't bear to have my work and my name besmirched like this after so many years.
Oh, of course. It's a terrible tragedy, isn't it?
Please,
Not to worry. We'll get to the bottom of it, I'm sure.
I thank you for bringing this to me, regardless.
Of course. We will let you know soon.
I wish Torag himself to guide you to find the source of whatever's in the hell is going on.
Very good. Well, Weapon Master, we'll be taking our leave.
Aye.
Out
So-
the door.
As soon as we get outside, go get the guts. We're arresting him. Just in case.
Oh, it's not just guard.
Everything is fake.
Everything in the store.
Just
Aye.
about.
And you just stay here. Keep an eye on him.
Yes, Marshall, stay here with me.
Here,
He's not
sh-
getting out.
Here's short to run. I'm actually getting the Anviler.
You can switch.
I'm getting the Forge Master.
Just pulls out big grid. Oh, don't worry. Nothing's getting by me today.
You have that box of sand, Marshall.
Huh?
It's a good place to use it. Use the sand,
Oh, hold on.
just in case.
And Roshin's off.
This is way too suspicious. You think I'm just gonna leave?
I figured you were gonna go outside and do something. I just wasn't sure. I knew you obviously weren't leaving.
Yeah.
Go magic.
You
Same.
go outside. You shake the sandbox, and it shows you the area around you in the Earthfire district. A good number of the buildings here have lower levels, so you see a wide assortment of undercrofts and basements and storage areas underground, none of which look outwardly suspicious given just the simple shapes that the magic sandbox can reveal to you. But Roshin, as you rush off, and it would not be hard to find guards. Like, there are guards of the Guild of Arms pretty much just everywhere, just kind of around.
So here's the problem with me trying to get the guards, is the guards don't really know we're doing this.
They've
fair.
been told, but
So you want to go to the Forge Master.
I'd like to go to the Forge Master.
So you head
Yeah.
back to the Amblers Guild, which fortunately within the Earthfire district is only a few blocks away. Being let in relatively quickly, as most of the daily smiths and masters there at this point are familiar with you. Forge Master Thunderflare, more than anyone else, has been very open about helping and supporting the heroes of Breach Hill as you help and support the city. And quickly, the Forge Master herself is pulled from her task, her craft left in the care of another one of the masters, as she takes a big rag, wiping some of the soot from her face. Aye. But Roshin, I hear you're in quite a hurry.
Indeed, first break we've had on your case.
Oh. All right, well, I'm all ears then.
3 weapons. Weapon Master Markov, 2 blocks over to the side. All of them bear flaws. We investigated his shop. He claims nothing of it. He claims he actually brought these here, but they're all
Wait.
missing the mark.
Apologize, but Markov, you say?
Indeed.
Weapon master. He's not a weapon master. He's not even a guild licensed smith. He's failed the exam 24 times now.
That's how he advertises himself, and in fact, he's knocking that crest onto the bottom there. Would that be his crest at all, or is that from somewhere else too?
That's his personal sigil, but it doesn't tie it to the Anvilers Guild. That's certainly odd, but
I'm afraid he's been selling these to merchants, claiming that they're from the Anvilers Guild. He claims he drops those off to the Anvilers Guild, where they've come from.
well,
His entire shop full of these things, and they all have flaws.
but all right, that's certainly something worth investigating. But these all bear his mark. The forgeries we've had coming through with on an assortment of different craftsman's marks.
Indeed.
Odd, but I don't know that I see the connection. This is certainly a problem as well, and something I'll address with it personally if I need to. But while I suppose it's, and she hands it back to you, theoretically not impossible to heat a weapon back up and forge a different mark of the one that's there. In fact, even a smith like Markov could handle that. I don't know, perhaps this is just a bit of pity welling up inside me. I don't want to lay more claim to him than he deserves. Are you absolutely certain that he's the source of the forgery, the fake weapons we have coming through, these defective lots?
He is the source of these particular 3, and he's also the source of every single other weapon in his shop, which all have similar issues.
The flaws in those weapons, and the ones that I showed you when you first arrived, they are exactly the kind of mistakes a smith like Markov would make. It's not so much a lack of experience. My Torag is out of life to work his craft, but simply a lack of perhaps aptitude, understanding. They're difficult flaws to overcome, and some of the most common ones that we work with apprentices to push out. I'm not discounting the possibility, Roshin. Perhaps he's, I don't know, purchasing a bunch of various weapons from different merchants with a bunch of stolen seals and hammering their own over his of some kind, but while plausible, I'm remiss to condemn the old man without proof. he certainly very well seems like he's spent the vast majority of his life doing his best to attempt to hone his craft, to get better. Like I say, he's taken the Anvilers Guild exam 2 dozen times.
So what you're saying is that these weapons, flawed as they are, and claiming as he does that they come through the Anvilers Guild, is not enough proof to show any actual malice from him.
Perhaps. And I'm not. If he's trying to pawn off his goods as the work of the Anvilers Guild proper, again, that's a problem I'll certainly address. But none of the weapons that I've seen coming through my office, the merchants have been beating down the door for, none of them have carried his seal. They've been the seals of a variety of other smiths. Almost no two the same.
Then perhaps it's as you say, perhaps he's been acquiring these weapons elsewhere, and thus removing the need for him to forge his own.
But if he was acquiring weapons a finer make than his, for more skilled smiths from proper weapon masters, they wouldn't have the flaws.
Which then leads us to wonder, where does he get them?
Solid question.
I understand he's not a member of your guild, but I'd like your leave to perhaps be a bit more harsh with him than I'd tend to be. Perhaps he'd be putting effort into covering up one flaw and hiding an entire other one.
Perhaps. Again, this is a matter. Even this matter is certainly not one I take lightly. I can't have him besmirch in the name of the Anvilers Guild, even if it's only to outsiders. He doesn't think know any better, know which kind of difference. For that alone, he's certainly earned some condemnation. But do what you need to do. If he is the responsible for these other weapons, these returns, these angered merchants, do what you need to do to find a connection machine. But don't know how you operate up in human cities on the surface, but keep in mind this may well just be a struggling old man trying to make a bit more coin, putting a fancy name to his wares.
You have a good heart, Forge Master.
I've been told too big sometimes, perhaps. Gets in the way of me hammer arm.
Well, I'll leave you to it then. And I'll respect it.
I appreciate this, Rasheen. Again, bringing this to me. Something needs addressed one way or the other. Come back to me after you do whatever it is you're gonna do. Don't hurt the man.
Certainly not. I'm no knee breaker or thumb breaker.
But if it is simply just a case of him fronting to outsiders, pretending he's a member of the guild, I'll send the guards down to accost him. Certainly a fine at the very least.
Very good then. And perhaps, who knows, if it is as you suspect, he may actually provide more information on where we actually could obtain these sorts of things if there's a black market in goods of this nature going about.
Aye.
Right then. I'll take my leave.
And so you head back to Marshall and Trishik, standing guard outside this workshop.
Probably not directly in front of the door, probably like right around the corner or something.
All right.
We'll see him leave.
As you arrive there, we'll hop over to Resme and Rez. We've gone back to speak with Talos and get some more of his tale.
We have a stop to make first. The armory told us that they would be good enough to provide us a couple of scouts to take with us so that we might all share the memory of where he went. But Raz and I aren't familiar enough with the area to even know where he was or where he was going. But if we can get some scouts who have memories of all of the caves and landmarks, we may be really able to come up with something.
Okay.
I know where that there Pebble is.
So, as you go first to the Guild of Arms to hire some assistance, on staff, they assign you one of their scouts who has been in town working simple leave for a few forges, at least since you've arrived, and one that you've met before. Mish Oakcrest, the scout that you had already met who escorted you out of Sagarok, already familiar with the Heroes of Breach, at least to some extent. And, yeah, she's in there. You got it. Yeah, look at this. We're getting with the sync. The sync is happening. She comes back out, and standing tall, arms kind of folded in front of her, she sort of curtly nods to both of you. I've been informed you need the aid of a Guild of Armed Scout for some investigation of yours, and I've been ordered to assist.
Well, yes. It's a rather odd assignment, I'm afraid. We'd like you to help us with a man who was kidnapped by the group we're looking for.
Hi. The sergeant said that you would need someone who knows the lay of the land and the lay of town.
Yes. We're going to take you with us to the interview, and we're all going to share memories, and it's going to feel a little odd, but I can assure you it's going to be very helpful.
You can see like a wince of visible disgust on her face at that.
Sharing memories with an elf? Ugh.
Don't worry, it will only be with Talos, the purpose of which is to find out where they took him.
Aye. Yeah. I'll aid as I've been ordered. Lead on.
Yeah, I don't really understand how this is gonna work. This sounds interesting.
Yes, it'll be a lot like the experience you had with Trishik, except more than just you and Trishik can do it.
That was fun. I want to do that again. You shouldn't be the one that song. Can I hold that song?
No.
So the three of you make your way back down to the Gold Sky Inn. And back to Talos and Olga's hotel room where they're still staying. Although they have very much wanted to leave Kovlar and head back from whence they came, they had agreed after a brief meeting with some of the Guild of Arms themselves and after talking to you to stay another couple of forge days to assist as they can for this exact reason, to try and help you track down Colt, the Scarlet Triad, whatever it is, and find the perpetrators responsible. Talos is looking much better. He is still largely hairless, but has a very, very fine bits of beard that is starting to grow back along his jawline and his chin. The hair on his head not really seeming willing to return nearly as quickly, save for up around his ears and a bit behind the nape of his neck. But dressed much better, looking much healthier with much more color in his face. He quickly, after answering the door, explains some motions to his wife, steps out into the hall and closes the door behind him. Torag's forge fire certainly blesses my path. If I'm in any way able to aid, to help any other dwarf, elf, or frankly, with all respect, whatever you are.
Yosoki.
Yosoki, then, for I'm suffering a similar fate to I. But I'm only remiss in that I'm not entirely positive how well that I'll be able to help you in investigations. I don't recall much of my internment. It was a haze. I wasn't well fed. You can still see. And I suppose on one hand, your wife may thank him a bit for pulling a bit of the belly.
Will you try something with us?
Of course. I owe you my life and my faith. And my faith is all I am.
Raz, I want you to help me with this.
What am I doing?
And the scout at this point is almost kind of like physically, almost sort of leaning a little bit back from the group of you. Very skeptical of whatever the heck is about to happen.
As she does that, Severin leans off my shoulder from the back as she turns around and kind of follows her back a little.
And as she looks and sees the bird, she would just swat.
She'll
dodge.
You look down at Mataz, she's just kind of just standing at her feet, just...
Disgusting.
Hey, I heard that. He heard that. He cleans himself every morning.
All right, Raz.
Yes. Yes.
So, there's a technique we're going to try. We're going to do... It's a type of memory recovery where we're going to ask him questions that engage all 5 of his senses he may not have conscious memories of some of the places he was, but if we can get him to sort of feel the way he may have felt during it, if we can evoke some of that.
You're going to defile this man's mind and make him relive the worst days of his life?
We're trying to save the 100 others that were held slave with him. So, yes.
Surely there's a better way.
Raz, I want you to try to use your magic to get him into a state where he's calm and he can focus.
And Talos bows his head briefly. Well, miss, I certainly appreciate your concerns, but I'm calm as the waters of the lake, still as a stone. I'm ready for whatever it is, so with this magic or alchemy.
All right. So I'll incantum memorum in face totalarum. And Raz, me, him, and the scout's minds are now all linked via telepathy.
So, connecting here, Raz, what are you thinking about?
I stowed it away. I'm still thinking about all the things I was thinking about last night with Trishik.
Connected to the power brain that is Raz. You also feel another image, another thought, which is Resme standing in what appears to be a cemetery on the north end of town, in a small chamber, a chapel of some kind, to the edge of it, with what looks to be a massive green-eyed stone bowl breathing some gas across you. You also, surprisingly, have the near absolute peace that is Talos's mind. It is nothing but an anvil, with a warm glow emanating from its surface.
Am I connected to all this too?
You have the Eye of the Wise on you?
Always.
Trishik, you're only connected to her specifically. You would get, I guess, a little like ambient echo of this through Resme.
I really don't want to be distracted right now, so I'm actually going to take it and disengage from it. I can really only be part of one subconscious discussion at a time. I'm not good enough yet
You
to
see
like...
some weird echoes, and then the connection goes dark.
If she sets it down, Matash just picks it up.
You would see some weird echoes of her getting breathed on by a massive stone bowl, and then the connection goes dark.
You probably don't typically get a lot from me.
You have a lizard brain.
Yeah. It's pretty calm. Oh,
Hungry. Yeah, cold.
I was gonna say food and cold. Probably the two thoughts that he has.
So, in his head, Resme will take him through a few exercises first. I want you to try to recall the smells as you walk through the caves. What you smell in the early morning when the forges have just been lit. How the smell changes throughout the day. Meals are prepared. The day gets later.
And you would get some senses coming from him in response. You would get first almost an ashy smell of the coals glowing faintly within a forge, and then strangely a smell of lavender would come through as he kind of centers and works this focus. The honeyed scent of mead with a bit of that, just the tang of the bite of the alcohol.
Next, I want you to think about what it feels like when you run your hand over something. Rock, the hard, sort of ungiving, cold nature. Water, a thing that gives almost automatically, and its temperature kind of adjusts to your hand the longer you keep it in there.
Aye.
The feel of skin. The feel of wood.
You would nod, focusing on the smooth worked wooden handle of a tool, the soft sheets of his bed.
Think of stories you heard, prayers for your God, sounds you heard, sermons, that kind of thing.
Of course. Their peace never truly leaves my mind.
Let them fill your ears even in your mind space.
Now tell us how you felt, what you heard, what you smelled, the night you argued with your wife and went to the inn. Describe to us the feel of the night. What were you thinking?
And as he thinks at that, and you start to kind of get a little bit of that energy, the first thing that comes up is an anger. It's not like a true hate, but more just like a blind rage. And very shortly, that rage turns to a haze. You smell again that honeyed sweetness of mead and that dizziness and general lightheadedness, which kind of increases, going almost to a point of floating, swimming. An extremely drunken dwarf.
Now,
Drunk and angry.
I
He's-
want you.
Brow kind of frozen. He winces a bit.
I want you to focus less on the haze, and I want you to focus about the temperature on your skin.
As he thinks, you feel the cool air of the cave coming through. It's still somewhat warm. The temperature never really greatly changes in Kovlar, but without the forge's ambient heat, you almost get a cooler sense of night, much like you on the surface.
Do you feel afraid?
Nay.
Why?
His mind starts to kind of accelerate a little bit, and you see him heading out from Sleep Like a Stone, the common room tavern they had left. You see him heading up this road into the Earthfire district. You get a little image of his walk, but even his memories, even his direct connection here is hazy, literally blurred.
I'm going to actually, from the night that me and Roshin walked that same path, I'm going to fill in little bits here and there to kind of jog his memory. I've walked this path.
As you kind of sharpen it and add to that, you see the face of a human woman who's kitted up in fairly light leather armor. Something actually very similar to what your Sheik used to wear before he ascended beyond the point where armor still helps him. And
Merely a hindrance at this point.
And you see a woman with a short sword on one hip and a sap in her hand. You see this route from the road kind of waver and wander to a near indistinguishable alleyway as a second image kind of appears almost separately. No real connection to the place. And then you see the road, the gravel of the paving change the stone of a floor. And you again see this enormous, like oversized capstan, this brass wheel. The scent changes from the air of the cave and the honey of the mead to sweat and almost the sulfuric tang of ash.
As you're walking, when do you feel the gravel, the give of the road, start to turn into harder rock? It feels different on your feet. As you walk, you notice it. It's probably the first thing you notice because you've been at this pace for a while and it felt rhythmic. It almost made you a little bit more tired, but then something changed under your feet.
And as he kind of focuses and tries to pull that through, this feeling of his foot on stone floor, the flat stone gives way to kind of rough, rugged, worked stone tiles, almost like a cavern floor paneled over. And you can see a red glow. The capstan and the image of all these other faceless forms pushing it around fades. And you see something much larger. You see a hulking creature of some kind, standing easily, head and shoulders up above you, an enormous hammer in one hand and a length of chain in the other. His face like a skull, devoid of eyes or lips, but just fire emanating from within. And at that, Talos actually like physically kind of recoils and flinches, and that image
Remove
goes away.
fear. She'll actually cast remove fear. As she starts to see him recoil, she'll pull the fear out of him.
Yeah, I was about to say, as she's doing that, I cast Soothe.
Remove fear, soothe.
You're good. You okay?
Powers
Fine.
combined. You both kind of cast this on them. These two spells take a hold. And you see the scout standing there watching all of this. She's still connected in all of it. And her face like contorts, and she physically takes a step back from the group as the two of you are spellcasting. Reaches up to where a pendant hangs beneath her light armor, and it's under her breath. Immediately starts just muttering prayers.
This is some extreme therapy, let me tell you. Oh, look, the patient. Oh, something's happening. Spell.
No, focus back.
You focus back and you see this shape kind of solidify, sort of calcify in all of your minds. It's a dwarf, ostensibly of some kind, and his face is not a skull, but just devoid of features, looking like a corpse. The gray and green skin stretched taut across to form a face, but still those gaps for his eyes and his mouth remain of just flame and smoke emanating out from inside. And that face contorts into a grin, perched upon a mountain of worked metal armor, a fortress of full plate covering the rest of his body. As the chain hand raises and lashes out, you can hear the links rattling and strike. A metal crack like a longsword on wood, but similarly like a whip striking. But Talos stays and he focuses, and it goes back to this capstan, this turning wheel. But beyond that, there's a door that connects this area, but beyond it is the hallway in front of your room in the Gold Sky and where Woken. And he focuses, he tries to think, tries to keep focusing on the smells and the feels, but he can't pull much between them. Because your vision flits
okay.
between the street, the inn, the dwarven figure, and the capstan, before finally it turns back to this hulking mass of a creature. And the red glow around him solidifies into a small pool of magma surrounded by anvils, fed by a massive pipe overhead. As he pulls that out, he says out loud, it was connected to the magma channels.
It's okay, Talos. You did amazing. You did great.
They're forges. They're machines. They're linked to the system. There's not that many places that are. But
It's okay. You found the one piece that we needed to be able to find everything else. There's not that many places that can be.
Sorry, I can't remember more.
No, you did amazing. You're so brave.
Raz is gonna just pull out a little piece of breakfast that he has left over and offer it to him.
And this man at this point has got like beads of sweat forming on his brow. I'll take this bit of food. Yeah, you're the most kind-hearted Yosoki I've ever met.
I'm the only one you ever met.
Aye,
I'll take it.
but still. I wager I could meet a fair few more, and that'd still be true.
Alright. So,
So, if I may pry,
Please.
Uh.
I think you've earned the right.
You're trying to find this place. To help the rest, to save whoever else is still trapped down there.
We know that there are more people alive down there. Now that we know, we can't just leave them to their fates.
You good hearts. You and all of those that were there, that brought me back out from that place, whatever he did, however he saved me. An anvil is nothing without fire. Keep that goal in mind. Working without a goal accomplishes nothing. You got one and a clear one. Keep your focus there. For we got all those and still toil in that pit. And all those in Kovlar who may yet live, never feel the sting of that chained lash. I don't know what that beast was. But even with their drugs, tinctures, I can remember his face clear as day.
I'm doing some quick thinkings over here.
Make me a bardic lore or a religion check. So bardic lore.
Bardic lore. You know what? Can I just... I know it's stupid. Can I just cast hypercognition?
Yes.
And
Nice.
do it
6 shots.
6 times.
Big brain.
The big thing.
You can cast hyperignition. You need more d20s, good sir?
I need one more d20, please.
Oh,
There you
hold
go.
on. The
I have a-
malachite.
Oh, yeah,
Hey, give me Nick's. Give me the Malachite. Give me yours. Power of friendship.
The power of friendship.
Do it.
All right. Well, the Malachite jumped out, and the other one jumped out for a 20.
The tray.
Malachite.
Oh, we got
We got a 20.
a 20.
They got... So that's a total of a 38, a 33, and another 33, and then another maths. Higher than 33, and the rest were below like 30.
To heck with those dice. We want the cool dice.
Which was...
That one's yours.
That was mine. That one's Malachite. This one was yours. That did roll a 20.
So as you think back to the vision you saw, and what did 20 end up at?
Huh?
What did 20 end up with?
38 total.
38. Think back through your mind of anything that this could possibly refer to. The face was almost certainly undead. That was near plain as day. Half rotted flesh covering up an empty skull, powered by some profane energy. What exactly, you can't entirely be confident. But you rack your brain, assisted by this spell, to think as hard as you can of this image you've seen and what you know of what's happened in Kovlar. And you end up linking a couple of things together. A dwarf, a zombie, Droskar. There is a kind of undead, name escapes me, Heresites, that are born from creatures that either died in the service of an evil deity or have lived lives of such profound heresy that some say that the creation of a Heresite is a divine punishment laid down from a god themselves for those who have spurned their teachings so thoroughly in life. Heresites are pretty uncommon. They're very rare creatures, but they are more common for those that have given their lives in the service of an evil god. What you saw, wielding a spiked chain, Droskar's holy weapon, standing tall, wielding it as a lash, driving the slaves they've gathered. It could very well be a Heresite of Droskar, or something much akin to it.
Hans is gonna just start digging through his bag, find a book. I think it was in this one. flip through the pages really fast, just rip one out, and hand it to Resume.
Resume will look absolutely horrified at what you just ripped out of that book.
This is, I think, what he saw.
You would see on that this bit of knowledge Rez keeps scrolled away that you would look at the information of a Herosite. You would see that these things are phenomenally difficult to destroy or exercise. Though they still have somewhat corporeal bodies, mortal forms, they still cling to life in their original shell to some extent. They are powered by almost divine fury. And striking down their body is never enough to end them.
Good job, Raz.
I have a lot of books.
Talos,
Some pages.
I know you don't know it yet, but all of those people down there, they owe their lives to you.
No. To you. To you. And to Torag for his protection.
But also you for being brave enough to go down back into the pit of hell.
I, and all that I am, my life, my experiences, my memories, I'm nothing but a vessel for Providence. I deserve no thanks. I've only done, and I've only modeled my life as I can by the hammer and tongs.
I'm honored to have shared your memories with you, even for a moment.
Thank you. Thank you, miss. I only regret that I can't give you more.
You gave us more than enough. Go home in peace.
It's no fault of Kovlar's, I suppose, but I've never been more excited to be rid of a city for good.
I'm
Put
sure.
it behind me and never look back.
To be honest with you, I missed the sun. I haven't been down here that long.
See, this is what, half of my childhood was like stuck in a library.
You still have the scout standing there, who at this point interjects, all right, so what is it that you need a scout at the Guild of Arms for? Why am I here? Why have I been forced to endure this?
Because we want to know where that was.
How, by Torag's own forge, am I to have any idea what any of that was I just witnessed? You're putting visions of devils in my head, and I'm supposed to recognize them.
That man just went through hell to give us a vision of where he went and was held a slave and beaten to within an inch of his life.
Okay, so I'm just gonna ask you because you're right here. Are there any maps of like the infrastructure for the forges, for the lava chamber, for the lava pipes, everything that feeds through? Because he said it's connected to that, probably. Maybe.
The magma channels are upkept. That's the stonemasons guild, I believe.
Oh, great.
Well, they run most of the infrastructure. That, and, well, the Anvilers guild oversees some of it. I'm sure Forge Master Thunderflatter at least understands most of it and has their own copies if you don't want to work with the stonemasons guild.
Yeah, that's fine.
But
And
you've seen it.
you for sure didn't recognize anything, landmarks or anything besides the big scary dude. Put that out of your mind because that was terrifying.
You showed me a devil infesting the body of a good dwarven man,
Well, it's
a
more...
pit of lava, and a wheel. No, I don't recognize any of it.
Okay, that's fair. I wouldn't recognize a tree in the forest anyways.
You don't. There have to be places where those things would naturally end up. Places where those formations would be more likely.
Oh, my Torag's beard. Ask the Forge Master. I don't know. Ask the Forge Master or the Mountain Heart for any understanding of who's got licenses and permissions or piping to access the town's magma channels in their basements. They run throughout the Earth Fire District, and
Okay, that's good. All right, we can go talk to the Forge Master
both
then.
of the main channels, about half the flows, I believe, fountain into the Anvilers Guild itself, and the Forge Master gets to use that. But there are some private forges throughout the Earth Fire District that get to use the channeled magma as well. It's not all go into the Guild Hall of the Anvilers.
Like where?
I don't know.
Okay,
Ask
map.
the Mountain Heart. I know I can give you a map of the area. I can't give you an infrastructure grid of the piping.
I just want to know where the forges are.
Yeah. Ask the Mountain Heart. The Stonemasons Guild installed them. They carved all the pipes and tunnels.
He doesn't want to help us.
Then ask the Forge Master.
He'll know?
I don't know. I've been ordered here to help you if identifying some area of Kovlar. Nor this has anything to do with the city itself. There's nothing I can recognize.
Oh, that was useless. So, the
No.
Forge Master?
It wasn't, but
Well, she was useless. Sorry to bring you out here to be useless.
Am I done here?
oh, I should think so.
Thank you.
Here. And her
Somebody
treat.
has a very sour personality.
She just kind of looks at it and looks at you and just turns and leaves. And she's still in your telepathic thing. So you get a vision again.
No, I'm hanging out there because now I want to see if she's seeing stuff and just not telling me.
You get again a vision of what appeared to be fervent penance and prayers to Torag, followed by another vision of you in a strange chapel by a graveyard with this stone bowl breathing down on you again. And Talos kind of looks, boy, never pleasant working with the Guild of Arms. I pity you having to put up with them on a regular basis.
They're kind of stupid.
She
It's the same throughout all the kingdoms. There's only one kind of dwarf that signs up for the Guild of Meatheads and Sword Swingers.
That sounds like Marshall's kind of guild.
Well, thank you very much again. We'll be heading back. Good luck, Talos.
You don't know he said that.
Jesus.
Marshall sneezes.
I think
You don't
we'll
know he
be.
said that? I don't know. Shishiki
Raz.
people.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We're gonna follow her for a bit. You game?
Sets Mataz on the ground. Go. Follow her.
I'm gonna cast Invis on both of us.
And you get, as you cast it, this telepathic connection. Get your minds out of my head. Release me from this, please. I'm done.
I'm hearing like a thesis in 26 different languages now.
I'll shut Raz out. But then, Resme is going to try to quiet her mind to the point where she doesn't know I'm still here, but we're following her.
Give me a stealth check. Mental stealth.
Mental stealth.
I'm gonna
Mental.
sneak through the mindscape.
Excuse me, get out of my mind palace. I'm gonna reroll that.
That's a 9.
Yeah,
What are you
no.
doing? What are you doing? Don't just throw coins at me. What's happening?
She'll in there, and her anger toward her will take over a little bit, and she'll try to block out the aggression the way her father taught her when he was first teaching her magic and how to quiet her mind.
Okay.
And she'll try to take her emotions out of it and just listen.
Sneaky. Less, not super
Not
sneaky.
good.
Hey, you got another one. You got a hero point right
You can't
there.
hero
Hero point, a hero
That
point.
scene from Emperor's New Groove where Kronk is sneaking.
I mean, it's still-
no doing that.
What do you got?
It's still 25. It's not horrible.
That 25 is absolutely not going to hide from the Guild of Arms Scout.
Yeah, I know.
So you try your best, but hiding yourself in a telepathic connection is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Especially for one who is a career scout, who is so well attuned
Yeah.
to getting the input from all of her senses. You get the feeling you're not really going to be able to hide on this.
I'll back out.
Okay.
Just hang up the Discord.
So
call.
yeah, you hang up your Discord
I hang
call.
up my Discord call.
Um,
Well, it was a good try anyway. We have a lot of information we previously didn't.
Yeah. He's a very strong dwarf. You're a very strong dwarf. Because I was still standing right next to him. I didn't move.
Come on, Raz.
So as you guys leave, back over to Markov's shop as Rasheen arrives back to Trishik and Marshall.
Well, has the old man tried to pull any fast ones, or is he still in there? And did the sandbox show anything?
Nothing yet.
As far as I'm aware, he is still inside.
As far as as far as the Forge Master is concerned, he might just be an old man who's, well, reaching for a bit of glory, and not being terribly wise about how he goes about it.
I got a bit of glory. Lopi Caster, no one can compete with Resme's mind piracy. Look at her. She is the wizard now. Mataz, bear this proudly.
Thank
down
you,
the table.
Mataz. You are the king of my Inception team.
This level.
But, as Rasheen explains this,
Well,
It's possible that perhaps he's obtaining these weapons through illicit means and trying to pass them off as himself. Perhaps if we ask him a bit more directly and a bit more forcefully, we might actually get him to confess to such a thing.
forcefully, you say?
I walk up to the door.
The Forge Master specifically asked us not to do him any physical harm, but I don't
I'm
think...
not gonna attempt. Kicks down door.
so as you just boot the door in.
Well, I can't say I didn't try.
Markov is not just standing in his front room, but he does pretty quickly kind of scramble in through the back doorway, not the one that leads to his workshop, the one that assumedly leads into the place where he actually lives. Scrambles, quickly you hear some scattering, some things possibly falling over, and he opens the door and throws it open with a battle axe in his hands.
That's cute. Come here. We're gonna have a talk.
I just
What?
Put your axe down. We're just gonna have a quick conversation.
I kicked it off the hinges.
You kicked the door all the way to the house. What have you done to me door?
I just carefully take the axe out of his head. Just
Put it down.
He
I'm
just
sure
can't
we'll get
take it.
good
He
as
just
new.
said, he's an old man. He just let take the axe out of his hand.
Put it down. So this is what we're gonna do.
I just pick him up and slam him against the skull.
Now,
Listen here, intimidate.
I'll actually assist.
All right,
Standing like
well, hit roll first then. Let
Yeah,
Rashik, not you. Let Rashik roll first. That doesn't
I
count.
didn't see it.
Rashik, roll to aid.
Can Rashini aid also?
You can.
You moved the thing.
No.
Technically, I don't think two of you can aid one
Alright,
person. Rashik, give me your aid.
Alrighty.
I actually have a
Sorry, one of the dice cams is auto-focusing weirdly. I think that's because the
I'm a
logic
master of
software derps.
intimidation, just so you know.
Well, you have a +1 because that's a 29.
If it's a 20-something, he gets a +1.
I'm taking it.
And
Taking it
such.
to the bank.
How do you guys do that?
Okay.
It rolled
I-
That actually ramped off the
Oh,
back
mega
thing. So like,
failing.
Need for need.
Better. No, I'm gonna. I'm gonna.
slam him a couple more times.
No, literally, what's gonna happen is this: he's gonna do that. Like, hold on, that didn't feel right. Let me try it again. Maybe
I didn't feel
the
your
right,
spine
the
break.
right hand a little bit higher. Bam! There we go.
Yeah,
Much
yeah,
better.
Much better.
So that's a +1, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jeez. That's a 39.
He's gonna piss himself.
Slam this old man back into the wall.
Scare him. It just happens.
Kind of readjust yourself and slam him once again.
So
so here's what's gonna happen. We know you're playing dumb. I know I'm an expert. Anyway, you see my friend over here? The one with the very sexy red coat?
Sort of looks to
he
the
can't
sexy
see it.
lizard.
Oh, you can't see it.
Yeah, he's unmemorable right now. He
You
just
don't-
looks
you
like
think
oh, that's right. You still
he's
look
just a
like
tall
him.
man.
You look at me, think I might be Roshin. Look at Roshin, decide I'm probably me.
Anyway, whatever. Point is, we know they're fake, and you're involved somehow, and you've been lying to us since we got here. Spill the beans, otherwise, you may or may not be in one single piece by the time the gods get
He
here.
kind of puts his hands up and he's like, look. Oh, please. Mercy on an old man. All right. I've been blackmailed. There's a group of... it feels foul to even say the name. There's a cult in the town. A bunch worshiping the forgotten son. Giving penance to Droskar.
I look at Rasheen.
That sounds like some weird religious stuff. You know anything about that?
That is exactly what we have been looking for.
It's one of Torag's children. One that's turned from his fire in the quest for Sky. He led the Dwerger. But it's not a Dwerger leading the cult. It's a dwarf. A woman. Scarlet Emberbeard.
Upon hearing his name, Marshall the tight around his collar grippens, and you start seeing like a little bit of like steam, if not like a burning. Like
I'm telling you what I know, please.
No, you're fine, lad. Slams him down into the chair.
This is not a chair, but
Whatever.
Slam him onto the floor, sitting.
I'll just make the old man crater into the floor. Bam!
Happy birthday to the ground.
Oh,
Well, if you would have told us sooner, maybe this would be less painful.
By this time, I would hope the guards would be here.
nobody's called the guards. But,
yeah, I
but
didn't
you
call
did
any
kick
guards.
a door in, so that
guards.
probably would have definitely gotten enough attention for guards to come. And you know, booting in the door in the middle of the freaking Earthfire district. As he hits the ground, a pair of guards do arrive at the door here, and on the ground, Markov kind of holding his general self, almost sort of on a sign of field position.
As I'm walking out the door, I'm like, I toss him a potato. I'm like,
Here, you whiny old man.
walks out.
And you walk out, and a pair of guards approach. Sword, or not so much sword, but mauls out in hand. They've got some pretty big mallets and face guards down on their helms. Hi, halt right there! Stay as you are. Order the Guild of Arms.
Relax, I'm with Bronzebeard.
You're under arrest.
That's Kit.
Kind of look at each other. What did you? You just kicked this door to pieces.
I'll fix it later.
And Rasheen and Trishik, what are you two doing?
Watching. Like I'm just over on the counter.
Roshin's gonna kind of look at Marshall. And back to the old man. Oh, you're fine. Cross and cast a heal on him.
Marshall, nice reroll. Got to keep him intimidated. Kevin Katarn, putting you back with a hero point here.
I appreciate it, buddy.
And the second guard. I don't right know what this fancy magic is, but three of you, put your weapons down. You're under arrest.
I don't have any weapons out and you're not arresting me. Look, if you really want to talk to somebody, talk to the Forge Master.
Tell you what, actually.
Look, if what you're saying's true, then we can do that, but I don't know that right now. All I know is the three of you just broke into this house and, by the looks of it, beat this old Smith.
I
no.
would like to specify one man broke into house.
And the two of you followed him. And the first guard speaks to me. I don't know what's going on here.
Really?
I don't know what you're doing, but if you're working with the Forge Master or the commander or any regents or whatever, we can get that sorted out. But if you're telling the truth, put your weapons down and come peacefully.
I'll walk with you, but you ain't cuffing me.
Let's kind of look towards each other. Take your weapons out. Lay them on the road. And he reaches out and just almost kind of shakily pulls out a pair of handcuffs. We're cuffing the three of you and bringing you back to the jail. If you're telling the truth, you have no reason to worry about this. If the Forge Master will support you, you'll be out within hours.
Officer, we're in the middle of an investigation. Perhaps you can delay what you're doing at the moment instead of investigating, instead of interfering, as it were. And that's a group coercion.
Okay. Group coercion. Intimidate?
Yes.
Okay.
Would you like some help?
Probably use it because I can't appear to roll above a 6. I'll take a hero point on that one.
All right, what do you got, Marshall?
I rolled an 18 on the die for that.
More than
plus-
30, I'm sure.
So plus my 20. So that's
Okay. What's your proficiency in?
I am master.
So you get a +3 for a master critical aid.
Because I am the scary dwarf.
So that's a 17 plus the critical aid is a 20 plus my intimidation is a 43.
And
Whoa. That is the big number.
This is how you make someone piss their pants.
two of them holding their mauls up almost kind of defensively in front of them.
I kind of like look at you and just go, eh.
This is
You can
kind
do
of
the
a,
thing.
this is kind of a big scene in the middle of the street. And you can see, obviously, that the rest of the dwarves going about their business in the Earthfire District have kind of cleared you a large area. But
We're still in the shop, right?
No, we're
you're
outside.
outside the shop. You came
Yeah.
outside the shop.
You
and
came
then-
outside the shop.
I'm in the shop.
I'm in the shop. I didn't leave.
You're talking through the doorway then. Marshall's
fair
on
enough.
there.
Yeah,
I'm
But you
just
can
sitting
see
at
through the
counter
doorway.
watching. Like, this is entertainment.
And Marshall outside and Rasheen as well, you would be able to see that some other guards are making their way over from the distance. Not really sure what's going on, but clearly there's some kind of a disturbance and they're on their way. And They kind of look through the door at Rashid. And the first guard, aye. All right. Well, if you'll come peaceably, we won't cuff you, but if you'll walk with us just down to the holding cell, we get this sorted out. We'll contact the forge master or the commander or whoever. And if you're working with him, you'll be free to go
Good man, good man.
soon enough.
We'll be along as soon as we finish. Now, Markov, go along. Continue what you're saying, please.
And the old man lying on the ground here as the two guards are standing outside, definitely not willing to move on Marshall here.
I'm just kind of sitting there with big grin. I'm like, come on.
Sort of holding himself.
I want one of you, that's right. I've been going all day.
Those cultists have been blackmailing me, forcing me to do their bidding. I don't know to what ends. I don't know if this is some penance of theirs that's seed forgeries or if they're trying to undermine the Anvilers Guild directly. But they give me their orders. A woman I meet with, a human. Oh, gods, I don't even know what their name is. They threaten to kill me. I didn't have much choice. Look at me, I can't fight.
No, of course you can't. I can clearly see that.
And,
You guys are jerks.
Pigheads.
Well, unfortunately, he kicked the door in, so
Maybe
I'm kind of rolling with it.
Make me a perception check. Machine.
I'm just using, martial logic.
My dice. That's a 27.
The 27. Well, I guess I don't really need to roll inside.
You want me to roll?
Sure, you can roll it to your inside.
Just chill like a lizard.
Well, I don't know. I'm rolling perception for it, but I'm gonna look real close.
You can switch it to dungeon.
I assume it's to see if he's telling the truth.
The arrested.
To see the monster sneaking up behind us.
Perceive real
Oh,
well.
the arrested sounds okay. That's fighting. Never mind.
Better.
That tripled.
So that's a 31.
31. You and then Marshall outside. I forgot Marshall's outside. I'm done. We really need to roll for this. Marshall, you would see that some guards are approaching. They're coming kind of quickly. It looks like another pair of them coming from down the road. And as they see two guards, balls in hand, standing facing you, giant axe in hand, one of them pulls out a whistle and blows it. And from inside, you hear a pretty shrill whistle call out. And then they both draw their mauls and hurry up to the scene as well.
Not again.
We're doing fine, Marshal.
Well, wrap it up. I'm gonna get bored and eventually start smacking.
Well, look now, Weapon Master. Certainly because we've become quite so public with this. It's called an interrogation. You might not be safe once people realize that the beans have been spilled. Why don't you come down to the station with us? And that way you'll be nice and safe in case anyone tries anything.
Oh, I can't. I don't know how far this cult works. They claim to have regents and guildmasters themselves under their thumb. I won't be safe there. It'll kill me. It'll kill me in the jail.
You won't be safe here, and you're not going to be in a cell. After all, you'll be testifying against us, won't you now? At least that'll be your official story.
All right, fine.
Oh, you're fine. Crossach. I'll heal him back up to full.
And he's he's at full health. He took like a couple points of non-lethal damage. You shoot your first heal, put him up
Okay,
perfectly
perfect,
fine.
perfect.
He's just like
He's bruised.
a very scared old man. And
Very scared old.
well, he stands up and kind of totters over towards the pair of you and out of the door where there's now 4 guards. And the two that are approaching blow on the whistle again. And you can see with that, more guards are hurrying weapons out from basically every direction. Summoning damn near every Guild of Arms member in the Earthfire District have fallen on this location.
It's a slow day, you see.
I believe I shall take my leave now. I'll talk to you later. Turn invisible. I had my fun. Time to leave.
Now then, Marshal, let's go take our licks for disturbing the peace. Come along, Weapon Master.
Fine, I'll play it nice.
Put my axe away and I just grumble and as soon as one tries to even touch me to like attempt to arrest me, I just go.
Come along,
Well, the new
Marshal.
guards-
18 more forge days. That's all you have to wait.
Fine.
They walk you down the street ends up being 6 guards forming a formation, 4 behind, 2 in front, as they lead you through the road out of the Earthfire district and over to the Commerce Quarter, which is where the Regents Hall and the Hall of Oaths and all that are. Taking you not to the, of course, the Regent's Chamber, but to the Hall of Oaths itself, where those smaller side offices where we were shown the forgeries in the first place. This building, this complex here, much more of a sort of courthouse of kinds. It's where not only are all of the kind of clerical things, the goings on of the Council of Regents dealt with, but it also seems to be where their courts and their simple jail is held. They don't, I mean, Kovlar's a big enough city that they require a jail, but as they lead you in, the guards taking you into the building, you would absolutely be losing your weapons unless you are willing to fight all the guards of Kovlar.
I mean, it's not like Roshin's even wearing her battle plate because she has her, basically her merchant getup still on. 'Cause
Right.
It's the same day. So she's probably honestly has like maybe a short sword that's
Right.
just for show and her clothing. So she'll give it up just fine.
Did the guards not question the third guy disappearing at all?
They don't know what to do with it. They have no idea what to do about that.
Also, you
They're
were not
very
noticeable.
distracted by this man, and you were unremarkable. So
They barely know
You
how
could
to
just
they
been a
barely
customer.
have time to assess what's going on in the scene here. Like
I will be there ahead of time, not wearing the unmemorable mantle then.
at the
Yeah.
Hall of Oaths.
Yeah. Just like they're pretending I was on business.
Oh, okay, fair enough. But as they take you in, Marshall, you giving them your weapons?
I'll politely stand right here and not move, but you're not taking me weapon.
If you refuse to give your weapons, they will attempt to take your weapons, and if you resist that, they make it very clear they will use force.
And
Oh,
very
Marshall, I
poorly.
promise they won't be doing anything bad to Big Red while it's in the closet. Now, it shouldn't be kicking in doors. It just complicates things.
We'll keep them filed properly in lockup, and once everything's sorted out here, we'll get them back right and proper.
As I
They're going nowhere.
reluctantly hand back the axe, I'm just like looking at the merchant or whoever handles
The
it.
guard.
The guard. I'm like,
Anything, even a speck, is out of place with Big Red. I'll add your blood to its collection.
How are you saying this?
Taters, that's my secret.
walks off.
And totters around as the two of you are led into a town cell within the Hall of Oaths.
So I will definitely come inside, noticing, oh, Roshin, Marshall, what happened? What,
Are you in the cell, or are you just?
Makes total sense,
while they're
actually.
being led in, I'm going to be like, hey, what happened?
This is not like a public area you'd be allowed back in. So if you like,
No, when they got there.
oh, well, you're bringing into the area. Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
And definitely, I want to roll deception to just join the entourage.
Of guards.
No,
It's just-
of them. They're very distracted by him trying to get his weapon.
To go to jail?
Yeah.
I feel like this could have been achieved by just not doing
Yeah,
anything,
but
but
A, I get to keep all my stuff.
do you want the deception to walk into the jail cell with all of your weapons?
Currently, I have a clan dagger and a short bow.
Oh, you know, but yeah, your short bow is not super consumable.
I don't care.
Uh,
My point is to walk in and just kind of join them and then open the cell door and we walk out.
I would let you could roll a deception to try to get in without losing your clan dagger. Well, like they could be distracted enough for that. You would not be able to no one
I'll-
notice that you brought a bow and arrows into
I'll
the cell.
give them the clan dagger and the bow.
You just want to go in with them.
Experienced smuggler. The skeleton key. I automatically get a 15 plus my thievery to sneak it past.
It's I'm pretty sure it's stealth. It's conceal. Oh no, conceal an item is stealth. Whoops,
Well, then that's even better.
conceal an object. Yeah.
So
So
I get
you
a 38 to
you
sneak the
hand
skeleton
over.
key in.
Roll me a deception check then.
wow.
Well, apologies. I'll be joining my friends. I have to keep a good eye on them.
This is
And we're gonna re-roll that 3. You know what? The purple dice hasn't been rolled today. Let's roll the purple dice.
Ooh,
Ballsy
bold
movement.
move.
Here it comes.
Swapping
Bold move.
D20s.
Okay.
Better than the last one, technically.
So what is your deception?
Better than my stealth. That would be a 31 on a 5.
I think a 31 would definitely allow you to, in the ensuing confusion of what's probably one of the bigger events that's happened in town recently, make your way in using your expert smuggler to conceal the skeleton key as the 3 of you are brought into lockup.
I'll just walk in like willingly. Here's my stuff.
Yeah, give me a short bow, give me a clan dagger.
Yeah. Like I've got no problem with.
So I
you
gotta
guys.
file and be
Just
like,
taking care of my
who
friends.
gave me these? Like,
Making sure they're okay. Get inside. All right, doors unlocked.
Trishnik, did you seriously just break in here to
I'm
come
now-
to jail with us?
Now wearing the cloak of the Montebank, not the unmemorable mantle. I have the skeleton key. I would have given them my my weapons,
right.
and yeah, pretty much. It's very fun actually.
So
Nobody even knows I'm in here.
we'll cover what happens ensuing in this
You mean law and disorder over
in our
here?
next episode.
That's your
May
new
and Raz
nickname.
are having a great time, making a lot of progress out here.
Mr. Fishman, how do you think the others are doing? You think they're getting a lot of information? You're
Well,
making leads?
telepathically, I would have told you that I followed the 2 of them in jail.
Meanwhile, in jail,
I'm
Marshall got
fairly
jailed.
certain they're A, in legal trouble, and B, they're going to illegally get out of it.
Duh.
Did they
That's
get
my
a lawyer?
specialty.
so
Yeah, of course.
when we return
Hi, Chaos here.
to
How you
the
doing?
Age of Ashes, while we've learned some things, we've gotten some more knowledge. We have some more leads to follow as to finding this cult of Droskar that does seem to exist. We also are in jail, which honestly, it's kind of a miracle that we got this far in the Age of Ashes before
Someone threw
we
us
just
in
got
jail.
arrested by regular guards. That's not like it's not like this is a corrupt mob shakedown or anything. You just kicked the door in, beat up an old man, and got arrested. So
See, this is what happens when you don't bring the good character with you.
I'm being the good character. I'm gonna get them out without any trouble.
You're being so chaotic right now. I can barely breathe the same oxygen as you.
but here's the problem. Those of you who wish to see what happens the next episode, it is not going to be next week. Unfortunately, the 2 Perception show is going to have to miss our adventures. I believe it's the 1st of May, actually.
Oh.
Is next Saturday. Yeah, there are actually apparently several of us that have mild to severe difficulties on that day, so it's probably just easier for everyone involved, it turns out, to just not do it, which is unfortunate. But I think our general rate of success is actually really high. We've only missed a couple of shows in the over year we've been running this, but next week is going to be one of them. So we'll be back here in 2 weeks. Math says that would be the 8th of May, 2nd Saturday of this coming month, with another episode of the Age of Ashes. Thanks to Paizo for sponsoring our adventures, for running this adventure, which is a general framework. We then proceed to completely ignore and get arrested. And
That's what heroes do.
that's what heroes do. Sirenscape, of course, our partners for the sound sets and the audio here, and giving us this nice stuff. You're gonna have to wait a couple of weeks, but it means we got a couple of weeks to, I guess, figure out a jailbreak.
You mean to be idiots?
What do you mean figure out? I'm
well-
going to break them out. If I get caught, I leave.
Dude, I
Then they
just
just go
found out.
back to jail.
No,
That's
you don't
not my fault
understand.
at that point.
I just found out that you're in here. I'm gonna go talk to Thunderflare. We're just gonna come and get you out.
Or I could just
I'll
walk
be,
out the
like,
door.
in her office waiting for you.
You're a weirdo.
Thanks, everyone, for being here. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out in the channel. We will see you all 2 Saturdays from now for another episode of the Age of Ashes. Good night, everybody.
Age level 12.
Just remember, crime
Age
gets
of
you
level
nowhere.
12. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.